The following production is part of the We Be Geeks podcast collective.
Before we kick off today's show, there's a couple of things I want to add in here as we listen. I mean, this was the very first time I got to see the trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And upon repeated viewings of the trailer, I have noticed that I heard the voice of Sir Patrick Stewart, which to me means only one thing: Professor Charles Xavier. Now, how many characters from the X-Men franchise are we expected to see? We don't know. But this seems to be their way to connect the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is also similar to, and I think I mentioned this later in the show, Michael Keaton's voice being heard in the Flash film, or little clips of the Flash for this DC The World Needs Heroes little bit. Also, we want to acknowledge that just a couple hours after we recorded this show, Ivan Reitman, director of Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, so many movies, and now, of course, his son has done Ghostbusters Afterlife, passed away at the age of 75, and I wanted to acknowledge that before we really get rolling on this show, because I would have liked to have made it part of the show had I known that he was passing away. And we would like to, of course, honor his legacy and thank you for all the memories and the films that you've made for us, Ivan Reitman. But with all that said and done, let's get on with the show.
From days long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend.
The dream that came through a million years, that lived on through all the tears.
It came here, the Fandom Nexus.
Fabulous secret powers were revealed to our host as he plugged in his microphone.
I have a podcast!
Here he is, your Spider-Pan, Jeremy.
Yes, indeed, it is me. It is your favorite Spider-Pan, because I'm probably the only Spider-Pan you know, right?
I'd imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I am your favorite Spider-Pan. And we've got a great show lined up. I mean, my goodness, in a way, I'm a little bit of I feel like I'm a week behind on this. But we had a very significant birthday last week. The Maestro himself, John Williams, turned 90. We are going to talk about some of our favorite memories of what he did. Now, because of copyright reasons, I don't think I'll be playing any clips, unfortunately. But, oh my goodness, we're going to share some memories, a little bit of biography that I found on his website. I mean, he has meant so much to so many people.
He's the greatest.
He's the greatest.
My number one favorite guy.
Yes.
So many of us, we love him. Whether you know it or not, John Williams has affected your life.
We also, of course, are going to talk about, we have wrapped up the Book of Boba Fett, which I'm going to save that discussion for the end of the show. Yep. So if you have not watched it all, I'll warn you, and you can pause, and you'll come back. And, of course, we do some of our usual stuff of what you've been watching, what you've been playing, and what is going on in the Neverland trailer park. My goodness, I've actually got some serious trailers here to talk about this week, so you're not going to want to miss it. You're going to want to tell your friends. Hey, have you told your friends the show exists yet? You know what? You need to tell your friends. Tell your friends. We're having a lot of fun here in the Fandom Nexus, so make sure you let them know. We're here at NeverlandPodcast.com. Have them come and subscribe, YouTube, iTunes. We're everywhere, man. Have people come and check us out, And at some point, I need to actually put more game footage up on the Neverland official gaming channel. I've been thinking about that because I've been playing a lot of stuff, and I'm like, man, I haven't put up any new videos. But I've been busy working, but I've got a good story to tell you. Good story. How my life has now come full circle. But I feel like I should start the story after the music has ended. Because right now, when we're rocking out to this music, and I know you're headbanging.
That's
I know
right.
you're headbanging. There we go, last note. And let that note, that note doesn't really fade out. It just kind of goes away, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Well, it's better to
burn out
than to fade away. Yeah.
That's right.
I blew that one, didn't I?
That's okay. It's better to burn out than to fade away. Hoo-yah!
What song is that actually in? Is that a Motley Crue song, I think, isn't it?
I can't recall. Probably Queen.
No, it's Motley Crue, I believe.
Well, as far as
Queen
the line,
is in the album. That line is actually in a Motley Crue song.
Okay.
I believe. Maybe it's Def Leppard. See, now I'm going to have to look it up. But yeah, that's a song lyric from an old 80s metal song.
I see. Well, yeah. I'm thinking of the movie Highlander.
Right. Well, that's where he lifts that line from. It's from a different band, which they should have lifted a line from Queen, probably.
Most likely.
But I think it's a Def Leppard song.
I thought you meant, when did he say that?
What
song was playing? And I thought, well, actually, he says it in
the church of all places. Yeah.
In a chapel.
I have something to say.
A bunch of nuns were all around. He was being rude and he was mean to a priest. Oh, terrible. We're talking about the great Clancy Brown.
Indeed.
Who says it as the Kurgan.
I'm going to...
Now Jeremy has to look it up.
Yeah. Whoops.
If you've never seen the original movie Highlander, great film. 1986, just a great film. And since then, there's been spin-off after spin. I mean, they were not all good, I'll be honest with you, in my opinion. But I like the TV show, The Highlander, and they had a horrible cartoon. At least I thought it was a horrible cartoon. But they had some good comic books and other things that were good.
Well, that's creepy. The line, "It's better to burn out than to fade away," was included in Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain's suicide note in 1994.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, not that I'm saying who's quoting it. But
apparently, Neil Young actually put it... conveniently, Neil Young making the news here. But there it is, Def Leppard. Yes, better to burn out than to fade away. They actually had it in there, but I think they might have quoted it out of Neil Young. One of his songs.
When did Neil Young say that?
Well, because that's where it was from a song called "Hey Hey My Into the Black" by Neil Young. Who's ever heard that song? I don't know.
I don't know if I've heard. I probably have. I've heard of it.
But Def Leppard, I've heard them song because they actually started with "I got something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away." And then the song starts. I can't think what song it is.
I've heard that song of Neil Young.
Neil Young.
I don't. Yeah, but I don't. I've heard of it. I mean, I don't know that I've actually heard it.
But I did not realize Kurt Cobain wrote that in a suicide note. That's creepy. Well, okay, moving on.
Very much so.
I did not mean. But all right, so here's how my life has gone full circle. Okay, so those of you who are regular listeners to the show, you are aware that I've started working for a television station, and I make local ads for a television station. And one thing we've got going on, well, other than I'm putting together stuff for a circus, but I needed to come and film. One of my coworkers is currently quarantined, and so he wasn't able to film. And I had to have these people come in, and we were using the green screen in the weather center, basically, in the news studio. But what this is, it is a kind of a local theater company up in St. Joe, Missouri. They're performing The Little Mermaid.
Oh, cool.
So I had the director and a producer or whatever come along with their actress who's playing Ariel.
Fun.
To come and do basically a green screen film shoot that my coworker was going to go and get on After Effects and add, water and whatever and finish out. It's like a 15 or 30-second spot, I guess. But I was even telling them, this is like my life's come full circle, because those of you who've been with us a long time, or been with, at least with me a long time, I started out the show, and it wasn't meant to be a Disney show, became a Disney show. From there, spawned on to where I went back to university, got my degree in audio and video and all that kind of stuff, digital media production, started working in radio, started working in television, left doing so much of a Disney thing, but yet here I am in my television career, the career I got that pretty much launched from doing this podcast, and I'm doing a Disney shoot.
And yet, to bring it back to a full circle again, to bring it back to that, is that I was a Disney fanatic as a kid.
Yeah.
But the film that made me go absolutely ape nuts and go completely deep into the Disney fanaticism is the fact of The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid, I went and saw, it was the first movie I ever saw on opening day. My grandparents took me, and I got so deep in it. I got the soundtrack, I studied it, I memorized it. And I mean to tell you, at the time, my voice hadn't changed yet. I was only 13, but still, my voice should have changed by then. It didn't. My voice didn't change, so I was able to sing as high, maybe higher, than The Little Mermaid. And folks, I got to tell you, I even sang some of that music at my school. And if you want to get funny looks, be a fat 13-year-old boy going, oh, singing that loud. That didn't go too well. But I did get a lot of good points and people saying things about me singing Under the Sea. That was a big deal.
Oh, yeah, Under the Sea. You can get that with the guy's voice.
I didn't do that, though.
You can get away with that kind of there.
Still.
Oh, yeah. You and I, we used to sing a lot of Disney songs from back in the day, man. We were teenagers.
Oh, I didn't care what people thought. I had a good time.
We had our fun. Yeah. So, and I'm still the Disney fan, but I'm more of a vintage Disney fan. But
me too.
I'm just a little annoyed with them.
I'm more of a, and this is just me, I know we're kind of getting off subject here, but I just am more of a fan of sentimentality. I was talking about old TV shows, old nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's it. Sentimentality when it comes to nostalgia. How much fun it is to go back into your, not just childhood, by the way. I mean, we're talking about going back to time before I was even born. Howdy Doody. I went around there in Howdy Doody. My father was. But something about going back to a time that was simple.
Simple time.
And those is a lot of
Granted,
fun.
we're not saying the world was perfect at the time.
No.
Before anybody gets on that wagon.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, we know there was a lot of things always wrong with the world, but there
has been.
But yet there was an innocence.
That's it.
Still in the entertainment industry.
That's right. And you can go to any time, no matter when. I won't get all biblical about this, but no matter when it was, there's always something wrong.
Yeah.
But we like
There's
to
always
focus,
something wrong with the world.
Yeah, but we like to focus on the good, and that's not to be naive, but at the same time, doesn't mean you always have to focus on the bad either.
Yeah, you don't look at all the things that were going wrong with the world. Let's look at what we enjoyed about the world, and that's what this show is about. Right. We're looking at all the stuff that we have a good time with.
Positivity,
and the fun that we had. And speaking of some fun we had this week. All right, so. The only thing I had listed, and we're not going to talk about it till later, but what have you been watching? Book of Boba Fett. Of course, and I am still going through Star Trek The Next Generation, still watching that series.
Great show.
But yeah, Book of Boba Fett, I for a quick review, because I want to get in depth and talk about this show later, but I got to say, I loved that from start to finish.
Me too.
And I'll take the joke where people, somebody has kind of turned into the Mandalorian there in the last few episodes, but I didn't mind that.
It was really what I liked about Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, was the fact that what it really kind of is, it's kind of like a bridge, in my opinion.
It's a bridge until we get next season, but we'll save that for the end. Keep that in mind.
A bridge too far. A bridge too far, far away.
In the galaxy far, far away. But save your thoughts, because we're going to dive head first into that. But
sure will.
I want to make sure I give everybody a fair warning before we get into it. So we're going to do it at the end of the show. Because I want to be able to talk every little thing.
Yeah.
Every little thing. Because, oh my goodness, because every little thing they did was magic.
Yeah.
Every little thing just turned me on.
Yeah.
Even my life before was tragic.
I heard it.
So my love for this show goes on. Yes, there we go. So oh my goodness, what have you been playing? Now, I know you're looking forward in March to playing WWE 2K22. I know you're looking forward.
My brain can't hardly go anywhere else,
and you've already ordered your NWO package.
Brother.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mean to say that.
That's right. Oh, you couldn't help it. You couldn't help it.
I say brother a lot, folks, and let me tell you, part of it is, part of it is because...
Let me tell you something,
brother.
Part
of it is because I say brother because I can't always remember names. That's the very reason why my man Hulk Hogan did it in his early days, is because of that whole reason. But then it became part of him. Let me tell you something, brother.
It became part of his world.
That's right. That's part of who I am. I do the same thing too. Let me tell you something, brothers. And even in my sermons, I'm a pastor, in case you don't know. Even in part of my sermons, let me tell you something, brothers and sisters in Christ. I do this a lot.
Right.
And part of it is because I hear some of the Hogan coming out of me.
The Hogan come out.
Who's also a Christian. So I find myself doing that a lot. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters in Christ.
Indeed.
That's funny.
Well, the main thing that I was playing this week was a game called Control. And it was, how I like to play some scary type games.
You?
Yeah, well, of course, but Control is interesting because it's not really a survival horror type of game, but it's mysterious and kind of creepy, scary. And it's hard to explain, even after playing through the main story and some extra content that I got when I purchased it digitally. It's hard to explain everything. But you're playing as this woman, Jessie Faden, which what's really neat is Remedy, the company who did this, they're the same people who brought you Max Payne and Alan Wake. Now, the interesting thing, this game takes place in the same universe as Alan Wake. Now, I don't know if the Max Payne storyline is supposed to have happened within their same universe. That would be interesting. But Max Payne is more grounded, other than doing bullet time stuff. But it's more like cops and bad guys. Alan Wake I have not played yet. But Control... so you're playing as Jessie Faden, and you go into the secret Federal Bureau of Control. That this is in a place that they call the Old House. That you can only find this building if you're looking for it. And it's a government agency, but the rest of the government really doesn't know what they do and what the money that goes to them. They don't understand what they do with the money. They just think it's some sort of research. But something has gone wrong in the FBC, and people are just floating around chanting weird things. Ooh. And it's creepy. They're just floating. And some of them are flat out possessed by some stuff and will come down and try to kill you. But these people are not like zombies. They're fully armed, some of these people. Some of them have, machine guns, shotguns, pistols. I mean, so you're basically doing some combat shooting. But what's wild is Jessie, when she finds a weapon, it seems to be this gun. It's known as a service weapon, is what they call it. But when you find some documentation, you find service weapon, they've realized
it has had different names throughout history. Mjolnir, Excalibur.
Ah.
It's always been a weapon in their hands. And basically, when she takes a hold of it, she is kind of like a chosen person. You are now the director of the Federal Bureau of Control. And her story arc is pretty much like trying to resist that, but then, accepting her role by the end as the director. But she really is just trying to find her brother, because there was an incident, and I don't want to give away too much, but there was an incident when her and her brother were children. Because what Federal Bureau of Control does is they're trying to control stuff, what they call, not paranormal, paranatural. Because they're real things that happen, but they're not from our world. But somehow things cross over, and they're not paranormal. Like I said, they're paranatural. They're naturally occurring in their worlds, but sometimes they accidentally leak into ours.
They kind of somehow seep over.
They come into our world, and they try to study these things, try to figure out why it came in, and is it dangerous.
You know what?
But something happened when her and her brother, with an object, because what they'll do is like an AWE,
Like
that's
another
an altered
reality
world
type thing.
Yeah, like other realities.
Kind of like Mirror Mirror in a sense. That's like old Star Trek thing.
There is a bit that's a mirror too, that you actually go inside a mirror and fight on the evil version of yourself.
Well, that is like Mirror Mirror in a sense.
It was. That's what I was totally thinking. And when I went into the Mirrorverse, everything was backwards.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like the whole world, like the text was all backwards, and there was a puzzle I even had to solve to get some items that like I had to go through and look at it in the real world and then do it in the exact opposite way in the Mirrorverse.
See, that's creepy.
To get it. Oh, it was. Oh, I get tingles thinking about some of the creepy stuff in this game. But it's also funny.
I like that. That's cool. Well, so what's funny about it?
Well, getting back to what I was explaining, but her and her brother, but they have what they call an AWE, which is like an altered world event, which is usually around an altered item. Some sort of everyday item, something has happened to it. They don't know what. Was it possessed by some other world being or what? But it has gone wrong. Now, what had happened, there was a slide projector, and it wasn't the projector. It was one particular slide in the slide projector that had been an altered thing. And this one slide would open up a portal into another world. Now, to get you started, to get you just kind of the basics, they accidentally opened this portal to another world, and something came through. But it was friendly.
Oh.
Now, it seems to take some sort of possession, and it helped Jessie, I guess, as she realizes later, it helped her realize her own abilities. But it did some things with both her brother and herself. And she calls it Polaris. You find out later what this being really is, what his real name is. But Jasper? She calls it Polaris. Or Polaris, as they keep mispronouncing, but that's okay. But there's also, with the discovery of that, so, the FBC showed up, they managed to take Dylan, because they considered him a potential candidate to be the next director. So they actually took him into custody, and they just watched Jessie. Now, Jessie all this time was trying to figure out who these people were, what have they done with my brother, and now, so it's been like 16 years later, she's in her 20s, and she finally found the FBC with her friend Polaris, who speaks to her, but she didn't hear. But it's creepy stuff, because the FBC doesn't know what's going on, but they notice Dylan is constantly arguing out loud with nobody. And so clearly he's arguing with his version of Polaris, or something worse, because what basically is going through is something that they call the hiss. And it's what causes everybody, and even because Dylan, when she meets, I don't want to give away too much of the story, but she finds Dylan basically has become a major part of the hiss. And he says, it feels really good to repeat the words. And it's this weird chant of like, you are the worm of the world. And it's all this stuff. But you hear, it's the same thing you hear when the room's full of them just floating around and they're all chanting this creepy stuff. And then some people will appear to kill you. But it's a really, hard to explain all this stuff with all these different objects. But what was cool, and I'm gonna have to pick up a copy of Alan Wake now, but there was an entire side story that was connected, that picked up, I guess, wherever the Alan Wake game left off, where he had disappeared at the end of his game, I guess. But it picks up from that of whatever happened to Alan Wake. And the only things I know about Alan Wake is he's kind of like a Stephen King. He's a writer. He writes scary stuff, and he goes into a town. In his game, he goes into a town where the latest book that he's been writing is coming true.
Oh, that's neat.
And it's scary. And his wife has gone missing.
Now, have they made? I'm asking this because I know they've made some Max Payne movies.
Yeah, they made one movie of Max Payne.
So have they? And I saw that. Have they made any of the Alan Wake? Is that his name, Alan Wake?
Alan Wake. There's only one game, but the second one is coming.
So are they making movies of that? Do you know? Or
I don't know if they will, because the Max Payne film didn't do very good.
I liked it though.
It was interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
The games are a lot better.
Yeah.
but typical,
Unfortunately, well, it's hard sometimes to capture all the. Games can go on forever and ever. They're like a mini series.
And the story, you can spend 40 hours on that story if you need to.
But now, and this is my opinion, but now that you got these channels, if you want to call them that, like HBO, Max, or whatever
streaming services.
Streaming service. Thank you. I knew that was better said. Now you got these streaming services, these, whether it be the Disney one, whatever it's one, you know which ones they are, you all do. But you can do so much more, like a mini series. It's just like the Book of Lonesome Dove, which is my favorite movie, and technically I know it's a mini series, but that book cannot be. They were originally wanting. There was a movie company, I don't remember which one, wanted to make it into a 2-hour movie. But
you would not have been able to fit
Larry
that in 2
McMurtry
hours.
did not want to put it into a 2-hour film. He said it wasn't really feasible. He said you would have lost so much.
Yeah.
He'd already done that with some of his other books and put it in some really good movies, but he just knew that he didn't want to do that with. It just couldn't be done.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, he had already had a few other movies that had been brought that way, but he said, I wanted to take and get some of this made up, and so he did with two of my favorite actors actually, and to Lonesome Dove. And I'm sitting there thinking that maybe with these streaming services, they should do that with some of these games and make it almost like a mini series, like a series.
Well, we've actually recently had Arcane, which I haven't watched, based around the League of Legends by Blizzard, which is, I don't know how much story is actually involved with League of Legends, and I didn't watch Arcane. I hear it's not bad, but every time I think of League of Legends, I think when I have tried to play it online, you got 7-year-olds once again that will cuss you out because you didn't do something the way they think it should be done. And I don't like playing online because of that.
But maybe if they make a series, like I'm talking a movie, or even animated.
A lot of games, I think, because the stories is so great, and I mean, you do find occasional things. I mean,
great writers and stuff.
Now, granted, The Witcher is based off a book series.
True.
Yeah,
but still.
The Witcher 3, I mean, that's the one I think even people who hadn't played the other games, got pulled in Witcher 3, and that's where they knew there was enough of something there that they could make that series.
These games,
which I can't discuss. That's a very R-rated series, so I can't really discuss it too much on this show, I guess.
Do you remember, Jeremy? Do you remember the old Find Your Own Fate books?
Yeah, Choose Your Own Adventure.
Choose Your Own Adventure, Find Your Own Fate. They had several companies had different, basically the same.
We could do a whole show on that, man.
So that's what, in fact, just recently I saw a thing online about, like on YouTube, about those types of books. It seems to me that these new games that we have, like you were mentioning, this game, seems to me like the new games are like those old books, but because now you can do so much more.
You can do so much more, and you get to live through the adventure in the game.
Exactly
Games
right.
have gotten so much, and that's why I have no shame that I don't mind if I'm struggling, if on a difficulty level, I don't mind putting it on because a lot of times they'll put it as like, if you just want to experience the story, we recommend this difficulty level right here. And I don't mind doing it because I play games a lot of times to experience the stories now.
That's right.
I take me on an adventure.
So there's
with Control, there wasn't so much a difficulty settings, but they had things you could tweak to where you could set it to where I could have it auto aim a little bit for me. I can get some aiming assistance, and I can make a few gradual changes just to I still wanted to have some challenge, but I wanted to make sure I could experience the story without getting too frustrated because the combat in that game. The screen, I mean, there was times I could not see what was happening.
Too bogged down. Well, some of them are
explosion
so dark.
things, and it's all red. I mean, there are enemies that their entire thing is to float as close to you as possible and then detonate. And even when you kill them, they still detonate. And they'll get behind you, you didn't see it, and if it detonates, it'll turn your screen red. When you get to taking enough damage, the edges of your screen are kind of going red, kind of like a Call of Duty, where it starts turning kind of red and blood. You kind of have that going on, and I got points where I couldn't see a thing,
and you just get
it got
bored.
Difficult.
Even after a while, you get kind of bored. Like, oh, heck with it. You say, I'm done with this.
It's like, dadgummit, I want to experience the adventure here.
I mean, you don't want it easy, but you don't want it so difficult that it's not fun.
Right, yeah. I like a good balance, and I'm at that age that I'm here for the story. I want to be taken on an adventure where I get to play the main character. And what was cool about Control is, we've got this world of, we're starting to get more and more open world type games. Control is actually an open world game all inside of this one building, because the old house, they don't know how it got this way. They don't know how long it's been there. But there's warnings to employees that if you notice a bathroom has moved somewhere else, because the house shifts, it likes to change, and it's bigger on the inside than it is the outside.
That reminds me of some of the old. You remember going to different, either whether it be haunted houses or haunted mansions, or it used to be old festivals like I'm going to say parks you go to, and they would have a little haunted house
Yeah.
fun ride in it.
Yeah.
And you'd have stuff like that where they knew how to set it up where you go through a hall and suddenly you look like you're going down a long hall, and
Yeah.
suddenly it was just a little room, and
Yeah.
it changed on you. But especially when you're young, like 5 or 6 or 7,
Yeah.
you'd be like, "What? What's going
What
on?"
just happened?
It's very scary when you're a kid,
Mm-hmm.
especially because you're a kid. You're kind of new to the world still, and you don't expect. And your imagination is most of the fun work.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you. And that's what makes it fun, is to
Yeah.
let the imagination do the work.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with
Don't
video
figure
games.
it
We
out.
don't
Have
really get
fun.
that imagination so much as they're just showing us the whole thing, but that's okay.
But half the fun, too, is don't try to figure it out. Go for the ride.
Yeah,
Have
go
an
for the
adventure.
ride and
Have
try
an
having the adventure. Oh, yeah. But I love the little bits of levity, and this
Yes.
is what I mentioned before. The game's actually got some funny moments because I love that you can explore and find different items. There's research notes, there's correspondence, there's multimedia and all that stuff. But some of the fun was like they mentioned that they have created radio shows and television shows to kind of they want to lead the public on a different path, right? Because they know the public notices things, but they always aliens, yeah. So that's what, they have like the American overnight radio show. Aliens. But what they'll do is they'll get letters that people write in, and they want to check. It's like, okay, these people that called into our show that we're trying to lead them astray by throwing, it's all aliens and all that stuff. Whatever it is. Basically, help them avoid the truth of the conspiracy by throwing them a weird conspiracy.
Yeah.
And they'll go for that. But people would write letters or whatever. And one thing...
A curveball.
Yeah, throw the curveball. But they have like this one letter you can find where somebody's written in like, y'all need to come get this thing. I bought my wife. And it's really, you can tell the tone. It's this real bad redneck. I bought my wife one of them singing fish, but that thing is singing directly and it's cussing at us. I serve the devil's in it. I think the devil's done to possess my wife too. You need to get this fish out of my house. But you see that they receive this sort of thing, and then they investigate, is an altered world event going on here? Is there an altered item there that needs to be removed and confiscated? And do we need to do the people that are affected to make sure that they never find out the truth of this other world is out there?
Yeah.
But there's funny stuff, and even some of the other things that's funny. There's one room, and they and I guess this band exists in the Alan Wake world. It's like the something of Asgard. Old Gods of Asgard, I think it's what it's called. And the names of the players is actually Thor and Odin is actually the names of the people. But they have a song that you can go into a room, and there's a questionnaire. They have people come listen to the song to see what effects the song may be having on people, because the song apparently is not normal. But there's even a one bit where there's a bit of a mixture of some live action footage that you watch film strips, and one of them is Doctor. I wanted to call him Doctor Strange, but that's not right. What was the guy's name? Golly. And the guy who's playing this scientist, Dr. Darling, he's actually the voice of Alan Wake. And the cool thing is the former director, who's Zachariah Trench, who is dead, but he can communicate through with now that you have the service weapon. And when you listen to him, I realize that's the voice of Max Payne, and he's even doing the low gruff thing. But what's funny is at one point,
can you go?
Well, at one point you find a film strip of Dr. Darling, and he's made his own music video and his little song. And what's interesting about this song, he's basically like, "You are dynamite," and he's dancing, got sunglasses. It's really actually kind of well done music video. But the weird thing is, he's never met Jessie Faden, but he knows her name. He knows that she's coming, because Dr. Darling is the only one that knows that something called the Hiss is coming. And you find out how he knows this later. But I don't want to spoil this. But I definitely got to recommend, if you like a good mysterious sci-fi, little scary kind of game that'll take you. I mean, I spent I don't know how many hours playing on this.
You keep saying the Hiss, and I keep thinking. You remember that tank from Cobra?
Yeah, the Hiss.
The
Hiss.
The Hiss.
Hiss. Indeed.
Yeah.
I also have to tell you something I just started playing with. Oh, and I got to tell you this story. I vowed to tell the story because I got somebody stuck it to me, and I'm going to rat them out. Because I have an audience and I have a voice. Now, I don't know how far this company reaches. They're based out of Joplin, Missouri, I've learned. But they're called Vintage Stock. And now they've stuck it to you once before, too. You had a bunch of items stolen from you, and you tried to alert them that the seller had brought that into their stuff, and asked them, hey, can you guys wait? Can you get a police thing? And I don't think that's ever worked out. Probably you haven't gotten things to where you could get your stuff back ever. Well, I went in there.
They wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, I went in there. Last Saturday, I had some old games. I thought, well, let me sell some old games and see if I get some credit, and we'll just see. They never really give you much anyway, but I thought I'd go in there and check out things. Well, they go and look me up with my ID, and I don't know what happened, but I'm actually banned from selling things in vintage stock. I don't know why. They gave me the phone number of a place in Joplin. I tried to call them that day, and of course, you can't reach anybody on the weekend. I have since called, and I've left a message with their customer services like, hey, can somebody give me a call back? Because I don't know why I'm banned, and I'm afraid there might be some identity theft going on.
Sure.
Maybe somebody did do something with my ID. But I have not heard back from them. But what I have heard, and this is now I actually had an affiliate link for GameStop, and I just haven't used it. I might have to put it back on the website. Some affiliate links for GameStop because GameStop loves their customers, unlike vintage stock, who will ban customers from selling stuff and then not be able to explain it. And like, what? Excuse me. Plus, they kind of screw you over with some stuff. But maybe that's why. Maybe I pointed out. It's like, wow, you guys really don't give very much back. Maybe because I pointed out the problems with that company. And really, I can go there and buy comics, but I could buy comics from some local dealers, which I'd rather support them anyway. But anyway, so I go over to GameStop with these games, and all right, now I've had my plans when I get $50 every 2 weeks when I get paid to blow on whatever I want. Well, this is lovely. I got onto their a pro account, which I had kind of a customer account thing where I had a card, but where it doesn't really do much unless you go for the pro account. Now the pro account, for just $15 a year, at the first of every month, I get a $5 credit that's only good for that month that I can go buy whatever I want, right, in their store. Now, when I spend money there, I actually build up reward points, and they right out the gate give me 10,000 reward points. Reward points I can build up like savings to eventually get that PS5, which is I'm trying to save for, even though I keep spending my money on Masters Universe figures. I'm not saving very well on my own, but I can once a month go and buy a game and then build up reward points, which become credits for me to purchase my PS5. So I can buy a game and save at the same time. Plus, GameStop, when you're a pro member, they give you more for your trade-ins, which I don't trade in that often. But be nice, I get more. And so I'm thinking, along the way, like my next target, I'm going to go ahead and have to get Alan Wake now because I need to play that so I can put that in there with what I've learned on Control. But there's some other games in there that I can buy used games, and I finally figured out Hitman. And I've got through the first Hitman game, like, all right, now I think I'm ready to play Hitman 2, which I can get that for about, $16, deduct $5.
It's not very nice to go hit a man.
Well, it's like the ultimate James Bond simulator. The way James Bond was written, not the way he's presented in film, by the way. Oh my gosh, you got to play. They're fun. Once you figure out what you're trying to actually do.
I've played it. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, of course, the rebooted Hitman, I haven't played the original game.
Oh, no, I have.
But the rebooted ones are clever because you get to find ways to cause an accident to kill, and it turns out your targets are very bad people anyway. So, but I saw that one. But I can go in and buy used games. Plus, since I'm saving for a PS5, I can go in and maybe start stocking up and have a library of PS5 games. By the time I get my system, I already have some games to play, So GameStop is treating their customers very well. Vintage stock will screw your customers over. Thank you very much. That's what you get for crossing me, Vintage Stock. I'm telling all my listeners not to shop in your stores. Find your local comic dealers. Find a good GameStop. Because, heck, GameStop, remember they had that wonderful thing where their stock was going down and everyone jumped in and bought stock and saved that company on Reddit. And a lot of people profited because GameStop is taking care of customers even when they're not trying. All right. So, GameStop, y'all. Right now, I don't have an endorsement. I will try to get some links on my website because at one point I did have some affiliate links. I need to get that but going again. I can't remember who I had my affiliates through, but I still get emails through the GameStop affiliate things. You know what? I'm bringing it back. GameStop, brother. Can I say it again? GameStop.
It wasn't vintage stock, was it?
It wasn't vintage stock. Vintage stock, I'm done with them because they can't even call me back to try to explain this to me. I may have had an identity theft, and they even had a thief bring your stuff over to them, and would even with bringing police around, you weren't able to say, hey, we need to put a stop. Don't sell these. Because these are stuff that were stolen from my store. And you had stuff that was like your father's old things, all kinds of stuff.
I forgive them for it, but because they're not the thief at least.
Yeah, they weren't the thief, but they could have been a lot more helpful to help you recover your stuff.
Yeah. And the only thing that really irked me the most, and this really wasn't them. I must give them credit for this. It wasn't really them that said it. It was actually the police officer. But at the time, he said to me, I say, am I able to get my things back? He said, yeah, you can buy them back. But that hurt.
Yeah,
that really hurt.
Yeah.
buy back the few things that were left over that were stolen from. Anyway, those are just things and all that. But
it was the memories you had with them because some of the stuff was from your father.
My father and all.
Yeah.
It really, and to be honest with you, it wasn't the stuff. It was the attitude thereof. That was the police officer, not the vintage people. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, but vintage stock, we still don't like them anymore.
Okay,
I'm no longer going to shop them unless I hear back from them and they get this cleared up and we fix this, because there's no reason to ban me from selling to old games to them. That doesn't make sense. I don't even understand. But so they better have a darn good reason, and hope I don't have to bring them up again. I'm just reminding you, like Kevin Smith when he was thrown off of an airplane for being and sitting in 2 seats. I was like, y'all seem to forget I have a voice, so people will listen to me.
I do. I personally forgive them, but for all that stuff, but
they still need to treat their customers better.
I agree. I understand your situation.
Or former customers.
I understand, brother.
Hello, GameStop. All right. So, but okay. So there was another game while I was at GameStop, and this is where I got to talk about this game a little bit. I've only just scratched the surface on this game, but Phil, you'd love this. It's a fairly. I think it only came out maybe last year, maybe a year before. It's called The Outer Worlds, and this is it's Space Cowboys.
Oh, cool.
I mean, like, because it's sci-fi, it's outer space, but like the first planet you're on, you're totally like an old west town, man.
That's great, because some people call me
so cool.
Some people call me Space
Cowboy.
Some call me the Gangster of Love.
Yeah.
Some people call me Maurice.
There we go.
But I sing from the pompatus of love.
Oh, indeed. Oh, but you would love this. It's kind of difficult because there's times I got some fights and I got like 5 guys coming and gunning for me, and I'm like, and you get into trouble. You got to be smart and get behind, find you some cover. But it's a first-person open world in different planets. I've only so far been on I guess 3 locations, because I did do a quick little station. But I'm on a space station. I had to stop because we need to make this show today. But oh my goodness, the style of this is just fun, and it's a Western in space so far. I'm loving this. It's called The Outer Worlds. It was kind of almost an indie game, but not quite. I mean, it's where it didn't come out to a big hubbub, but it's really great. It's creative. Oh my goodness, this is so much fun. I gotta show you this game. You'd love it. But anyways, all right, so we've talked about games long enough. It's time. I only have a little bit of news and everything, but I got to hit the button just so we can talk about just a little bit of news. That was not the right button, brother. That's not it either.
Spanning the Disney and geek universe to bring you the best in comics, toys, movies, and entertainment. This is news from around Neverland.
All right, so the only thing, and this is, I feel obligated to mention the Oscars, just because there's some stuff, and I've kind of gotten a point where, I like the Oscars in Hollywood, let's face it, they're out of touch with us regular folks.
Yeah.
They've been for quite some time.
Yes,
so I don't really pay attention to the Oscars.
Yeah. Love them.
Even Ricky Gervais couldn't save them.
No.
I loved his speech.
Oh, he's so great.
But I got to mention, a Best Picture nominee, couple of them, Dune.
Oh, that was
Dune
a good
got a
movie.
Best Picture nominee.
They did a good job.
And Steven Spielberg, brother, he's back. Yeah. And I haven't gotten to see this yet. His West Side Story, it got nominated for Best Picture. I want to see that
because I love the original. So
I haven't seen the original.
Well, I got it. You know me.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing the new one.
Yeah, indeed. I would like to see what he's done with it.
The music in that first, I got soundtrack even. I mean, I've told you this. You know me. First of all, seeing how I love Romeo and Juliet, and it's a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. I mean, what can I tell you?
Yeah.
That first one, if it's even half as good, which I know it is, if it's even half as good as that first one, then it's going to be great. Because not only is it, and I'm sorry if I'm ruining this for anyone. I'm surely not, folks. We haven't seen this from now.
I ain't seen it, but hey, I ain't seen it.
I'll
stop it.
I'm simply saying this. This is not ruining anything. The story of Romeo and Juliet.
We know that story.
It's just not just a story of love. It's also a story of prejudice. It's a story of families hating one another. It's a story of all those types of things, and that's the important thing to remember. It basically says that these people hate one another, and they used that back then in the late 50s, early 60s to tell you that people shouldn't hate each other because they're different.
Right.
And it's a retelling of that, which is beautiful. Yeah. It's a great story.
And when you look at the story of Romeo and Juliet, it's love overcoming hate, but then it's hate destroying love.
Yes.
And that's the warning.
Yes.
It shows, hey, how love can overcome the hate. It's my love coming from my only hate is even a line Romeo utters in there. But then we see what the hate does and destroys.
Exactly right.
So, I don't know if West Side Story comes out to a bad end or not. I don't know. I need to see it.
I say nothing.
Yeah, say nothing because I want to see it. But here's some other stuff that's kind of fun. Actor in a leading role. We got some Disney people here. Other than Will Smith. Will Smith has probably done a Disney movie, but through a side company. I don't know. But we got Javier Bardem, which I love him. He's great at playing scary people. He's actually for something being the Ricardos, which I meant to watch. I haven't watched it. He plays Ricky Ricardo. But you got Andrew Garfield's actually in Tick, Tick, Boom. And, of course, Will Smith. And then Denzel Washington, The Tragedy of Macbeth, which just came out.
Okay, let's see that.
But you've got an even actor in a supporting role, J.K. Simmons, and being the Ricardo. So, I mean, you've got some Marvel actors who are getting some nods, which I got to bring that up, too.
And seeing how you're talking about West Side Story, the original West Side Story, the main guy in that is a Disney guy, because you remember the guy from, I think we've talked about it before, Johnny Tremaine.
I still need to see that, dude.
Oh, we need to watch that.
I need to watch it. I know every year around 4th of July, I'm like, man, this is the time I'm supposed to be watching Johnny Tremaine. Disney Plus doesn't have it. What in the world? So, man, we gotta watch it. I keep hearing
one of the main guys in that, Johnny Tremaine, he was the main character in West Side Story.
Nice.
The original, I'm talking. So,
yeah. Something else I got to bring up, just because I'm sure we've carried some of our Disney fans with us. Animated feature film. This is kind of cool. Encanto, which I didn't think it was that good.
Yeah, it was all right.
Luca. I'm backing Luca. Pixar. I love Pixar. But the nice thing, kind of fun thing is Disney has 2 movies in here, because I guess Raya and the Last Dragon would still count as being, but that's been over a year ago. But I guess this is still within this term. But Disney technically has 2 movies and Pixar has 1 in there. And then there's also The Mitchells versus the Machines, which I didn't see. And then something called Flea, which is a foreign film, animated. But I'm totally going, come on, Luca.
Yeah, I like the Ryan one. That was
Ryan the Last Dragon was pretty good.
I really enjoyed the animation.
Yeah.
It was tremendous.
And the style of it. It was pretty good. It felt like it was the plot of a video game too. It felt like Legends of Zelda come to life in a weird way. But it wasn't one of Disney's best.
No, but I like the messages and things in that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I didn't care for what's her name? That she was a lot better in Shang-Chi. Awkwafina. I didn't care for her.
She has a great voice, though. I will say, in the sense that she has such style.
Yeah.
And she definitely...
It was a style that just didn't fit with the tone of the film.
But she definitely... I'll say this. She's a great animated character in the sense that she seems like an anime character even when she's not.
Yeah. I guess that's what we'll put it.
She's a character.
But yeah, so we've got a lot of different stuff, and Cruella, I guess we'll mention for costume design. That I feel to be very appropriate somehow. I don't really want to see the movie,
me neither.
But being that it's about a fashion villain, costume design
that fits.
But yeah, so that's the only thing that I wanted to bring up for any sort of news this week. And now we're going to have some fun now, brother, because we're going to the trailer park.
Mama, another gator got in the house.
Another gator? Give me that sugar. Come here.
Get him, Mama. Get that gator.
The Neverland Trailer Park.
So this week was full of trailers that I didn't know were coming, and one that we were waiting for. That they've been advertising that it was coming. And we'll get to that one. But I got a few things that surprised me this week. The first one I'm going to play for you is called Lightyear.
A year of work for a 4-minute flight. Isn't that something?
We're all ready if you are, sir.
Well, let's go find out if this...
We got a breach in the perimeter.
Thank you. Buzz Lightyear mission log. After a full year of being marooned on this planet, our first test flight is a go. Let's get everyone home.
Good luck, Captain. We're all counting on you!
Roger that.
There's a star waiting in the sky.
Hello, Buzz.
I am Socks, your personal companion robot.
We're being pursued by just a massive robot.
That was utterly terrifying, and I regret having joined you.
Lightyear!
Let all the children begin.
I can provide sleep sounds if you like. I have several options. Summer night, ocean paradise, whale calls.
No. White noise is fine.
Very well.
Good night, Socks.
Good night, Buzz.
Every hero has a beginning, and you go on an intergalactic adventure with Disney and Pixar's Lightyear, June 17th, 2022. This, of course, let me go ahead and finish, I guess, reading what it says here. It says, Lightyear is the definitive origin story of Buzz Lightyear, the hero who inspired the toy, and follows the legendary Space Ranger on an intergalactic adventure. Buzz's world was always something I was excited about, says director Angus MacLean. In Toy Story, there seemed to be this incredible backstory to him being a Space Ranger that's only touched upon, and I always wanted to explore that world further. So my Lightyear pitch was, what was the movie that Andy saw that made him want a Buzz Lightyear toy? I wanted to see that movie, and now I'm lucky enough to get to make it. Now, when I look at this is Chris Evans, which is kind of weird to have him voice, and I'd like the Tim Allen voice. But did anybody else think Buck Rogers?
Well, yeah. The only thing that they had anything similar to this with is the TV series. And if you recall, they had the voice of, and I can't think of his name right now, he was from Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah,
Pat
Putty.
Was it Pat
Warburton? Patrick Warburton, yeah.
Pat Warburton. That's the only thing I could think of that had anything similar to this. And this wasn't his early life, talking about Buzz.
Yeah.
This was...
it was Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
Yeah, Star Command.
It was the whole thing.
And it was basically...
A lot of great characters in that cartoon.
A lot of great characters. And so they've done this, but it wasn't his early life.
Right.
Wasn't... He said it almost like Pat would have.
Right.
I love that guy, by the way.
Yeah.
But...
Everybody does, really.
Yeah, he's awesome. But the way they did that cartoon was pretty much these stories in this sense.
Yeah.
How they're trained and all. So it's not like this has never been done, but this is done for more of a serious...
This is more of the canon one.
Yeah, this is
Although
canon.
They did establish, I think, with the cartoon, they premiered it with a movie that I never didn't see, but they had like Buzz and Woody sitting on a TV with the other toys to watch the cartoon, which I hope they do kind of with this.
And I have it, but they had the... if you want to call it canon, they did have it straight to video, and it was animated. It was animated straight, hand drawn, animated, really good. And that was Tim Allen's voice. That was before it was.
When they did that. I've never seen that original movie, but I liked watching the cartoon.
And the great thing about that too was William Shatner did a little talking thing on there. It was that song at the end, and he was involved. And that made it, to me, much fun.
That's much better.
Because I don't know. First of all, Shatner's cornball, just like all the rest of the people involved. And not just that, folks, Star Trek, it brings it full circle again. We're going back to that.
Right.
Brings it full circle. Come on.
Although, I expect a few Star Wars nods. Kind of like what we got in Toy Story 2. Because we do get to see Zurg in there. And I wonder if they're going to keep the idea that Zurg is his father.
Maybe. But I don't know.
That would be kind of cool.
But what would be great is, at least when it comes to this whole thing, when we were talking about Shatner and all that, Star Trek and Star Wars, they have such an old school sci-fi greatness, the richness.
Yeah.
I mean, they are sci-fi. I'm not saying that there's none other great sci-fi things, but they are basically the two bestest
of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Sci-fi and fantasy. Really, because Star Wars is a fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
In a sci-fi environment. Star Trek is pure sci-fi.
It all comes full circle again. And you can go with Doctor Who and all that is pretty big. It goes right in there. But, man, those are all pretty big names in those areas.
But to get us back to what we're supposed to be talking about with Buzz Lightyear in this trailer, the reason why I call this kind of reminds me of Buck Rogers is it appears that they're about to do a test flight of some sort of new, maybe it's a new warp drive, but they've been on some sort of planet or somewhere, they're looking to get off, and it seems like Buzz the experiment may have worked too well, and he's now far from home. in a whole different area, and now he's going to join the Space Rangers. That's what it appears to me, because it seems a lot of stuff is new to him, like this little robot cat, which cracks me up.
I have a question for you about that cat. Who is it who does the voice of that cat? Because he sounds so familiar.
Let me see. Well, previously announced Chris Evans, who lends his voice to Buzz, Kiki Palmer, Dale Souls, Taika Waititi as a group of ambitious recruits.
Taika,
Peter Sohn voices Buzz, robot companion Socks. I have no idea who Peter Sohn is.
Well, I first heard that voice. I said, my gosh, that's...
Efren Ramirez, though, I believe that he was Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite. I think that's who that is. I see his voice that's in here. But yeah, a lot of. I kind of do hope that we do get eventually working in some of the characters from the old animated series. Like they go ahead and connect and say, oh no, these animated stories are part of Buzz's history as well. I would love to see that connection, because there were some great characters in that cartoon.
You mentioned Zurg earlier.
Yeah, and we do get a look at Zurg in this trailer. He's big and scary.
And that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Because I like the cartoon, and I like that Wayne Knight at the time was involved with the voices on that.
He was that one. I can't remember any of the characters' names. I can kind of picture him, because he was kind of like a bigger guy. Then they had the
Wayne Knight,
kind of the cute alien girl.
Well, this is interesting too. Wayne Knight goes also into Seinfeld with because Wayne Knight, Newman. That's how he got real popular.
Yeah,
Newman and Jurassic Park,
of course.
And I mean, how can you not? But
that's nice. Gotta go.
Yeah, gotta go. And you did. Not very far.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that being said, I love him in those things.
Yeah.
What's great about that is that when Zurg first shows up, he was also, of course, another character in that cartoon, Toy Story. He was the one who was selling those toys and all. He's so great in that movie.
Everything for a buck. Yes. Yes. So I'm looking forward to this. I didn't think I would be looking forward to it, but every time, the looks that I've been getting on it, like, plus it's Pixar.
Oh, yeah.
Pixar so far hasn't made a movie that didn't have a good time.
Yeah.
So
for the most part, I think they're all
outdoing Disney. Yeah, that's all I got to say. They're outdoing Disney. All right, I want to move on to something that surprised me the other day. It's called The World Needs Heroes.
Yes.
Who are you under there? What are you hiding?
My son dreamt of a better world. That's why he saved me.
You can go to any timeline, any universe. Why'd fight to save this one?
What could be greater than a king? A hero.
I just got goosebumps. If we don't stand up, no one will.
Come with us. There's a glorious world out there, waiting for you.
The Batman, Black Adam, The Flash, and Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. And DC's promising to put all these movies in theaters. And this one little thing, the thing is, me being the Marvel guy that I am, it says the world needs heroes, and it's a DC ad for all their stuff doing this year. I'm like, the world needs heroes. The world's got heroes. It's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, brother.
The world needs DC heroes, which most of those were first.
They need good DC movies.
That's exactly right.
That's what we need.
Hey, now, did you recognize
Michael Keaton's voice there and talking to the Flash?
Yeah, did you recognize the man speaking to Black Adam there?
Yes, indeed. Good old Pierce Brosnan.
And perfect for the role, man.
Who is he supposed to be, though?
I can't remember
You're the DC guy, man.
I can't remember the character's name. He's the one who hands over the powers of the Shazam things. I just can't think of his name. Who makes sure that they receive.
So he's like before the Wizard Shazam, then.
Yes, and I can't think of his name. But,
I have no idea.
But Pierce Brosnan is one of my all-time favorites.
He's great.
Yes,
I
love him, man. He'd just be great for this. I just can't think of his name right now. The character, I mean.
I have no idea. And I did see some other characters that kind of recognize, in the gold armor. I can't think of who that is.
Are you talking about? You're not talking about the Hawkman.
No, I know Hawkman.
Yeah, of
but the other guy that you see, he wears blue with like gold armor.
Oh yeah.
And he's got like a shield normally.
Yeah, that's name right now. I'm sorry. I can see it.
I want to call him the Guardian, but that's not right.
Yeah, that's right. There's
Is it right?
There's Guardian. There's also I get him and Adam mixed up for some reason. I know that's not right, but
But I don't know my DC very well. But I know I've seen that guy in like the Superman animated series.
You don't know your DC very well.
I do not know my DC.
We pray for him.
I'm a Marvel guy.
We pray for him.
I am a Marvel guy.
I love both.
I do love me some Superman and Batman. But,
sure.
And I do love some Green Lantern, too. Green Lantern,
Well, in
pretty awesome.
reality, there's about 5 or 6 characters, maybe more, of DC that open the door for other characters. Batman, Superman, obviously, Wonder Woman, the Justice League. They open the door for everyone else.
In '79, when they made everybody believe that a man could fly, when they took Superman seriously. Thank you, Richard Donner, for taking it seriously compared to what they did to your Superman 2 and made it silly.
And say what you will, but
showing us that this is what we could have.
And say what you will, but I know people like to joke about it, but in reality, Adam West at the time,
he did make Batman popular.
He really did, and
made it silly though too.
Well, it was already silly.
Yeah,
at that time, folks,
they were making fun of themselves in a way.
At that time, that was the Batman you had in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it was. So they were just making what you had in the comics.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Well, the comics started to reflect it because really, and there was a thing I was watching on that where basically the 60s series was meant to kind of be in a satire of what was in the comics.
Yeah. So,
but then they got everybody loved that style that the comics started to went a little further to kind of match.
Yeah, they was already that way for so long in the early 50s and 40s, and so they went campy.
Yeah, and then Frank Miller says like, "Hey, I remember what the original comics were like. Let me go that way a little bit."
For 1 year, it was only serious for 1 year. That's the truth.
Yeah, my goodness. Yeah. But I am looking forward to seeing some of these movies. I'm like a Black Adam. I'd kind of like to see that. I'm waiting for Shazam too, but they didn't. I guess that's 2023.
Yeah, and you got.
And the only reason I want to see that Flash movie is because they have Michael Keaton's Batman universe brought in.
I do. I must. This is going to sound so horrible. I don't like the actor playing the Flash. I didn't like.
I like him in some other stuff.
Yeah,
in the Fantastic Beasts series, I like him in there.
I'm not saying he's not a good actor. I just mean he himself, he's a goof. But
as the Flash, yeah, definitely.
Well, in real life, I've
never seen him in real life.
As himself in interviews, he acts like such a goofball. However, he's still a good actor, and he doesn't fit the Flash very well, or at least hasn't so far. That doesn't mean I'm not looking forward to seeing him himself as the Flash, because I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah,
I will say this too, from what I've seen in that commercial so far, just the way the outfit looks is much
improved.
better.
Much improved.
It looks like what you see in the comic books now.
Yeah,
that first thing they had in that,
it looked like it was stitched together with barbed wire.
I didn't mind it being a beginning, but I was hoping even by the end it would look a smidge better. But this will, I think it will be tons better, and I think he'll do better.
I hope so.
I hope he's not supposed to be that comic relief again. That was really bad. That was really bad. That comic relief, quote unquote.
Yeah,
you need to be funny.
Making him a joke. Well, there's a difference between Barry Allen and Wally West, and they had him acting a little bit more like Wally West. Wally West is a little bit more lighthearted compared to Barry.
If you're supposed to be a comic relief, you need to be funny.
And he wasn't.
No.
Kind of like having the one girl that's in the Two Broke Girls in the Thor movies that's supposed to be the comic relief, and she's just not funny.
No.
And I was not happy to see her in WandaVision. I was like, oh, but she was not annoying in WandaVision, thank goodness. But, she just wasn't funny. She was annoying. Oh,
I agree.
I don't care if she's cute. Kat Dennings, but and maybe she's funny in other stuff. Because I guess I don't know her TV series. She was on the Two Broke Girls. I never watched it, and maybe that show was funny, but she was not funny in the Thor movies. But anyways, let's move on. Speaking of Marvel,
every night I dream the same dream. And then the nightmare begins. I did what I had to do to protect our world.
You cannot control everything, Strange. You opened the doorway between universes, and we don't know who or what will walk through it.
Wanda, what do you know about the multiverse?
Viz had his theories. He believed it was dangerous.
He was right.
I'm sorry, Stephen. Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished.
We should tell him the truth.
break the rules. Look out! To become a hero. I do it, I become the enemy. It doesn't seem fair.
May 6th, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, this trailer just dropped, just a little bit before we even started recording. I did not know that this was coming. But I figured for Super Bowl, it was good. I had a feeling during the Super Bowl they were gonna see something. So, this is the first I'd seen of it. But all right, let's see what it says. It says, "Enter a new dimension of strange." Watch the official trailer for Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange. Okay, I already got them. But all right, here we go. In Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the MCU unlocks the multiverse and pushes its boundaries further than ever before. Journey into the unknown with Doctor Strange, who, with the help of mystical allies, both old and new, traverses the mind-bending and dangerous alternate realities of the multiverse to confront a mysterious new adversary. And we see Mordo is back, and I cannot think of the name of the weird squid with an eye there. He was in that Marvel superheroes fighting game though back in the 90s.
Yes, but I can't recall.
I can't think of his name either. But oh my goodness, that looks so good.
We'll call him Squid Eye.
Squid Eye, Squiddy. Oh man, I want to say it's Shumagorath.
That might be right.
And that might be who it is. But I don't typically read a lot of these. But woo, intense. And I love Wanda makes a pretty good point. When I break the rules, I was the bad person. How come you're okay when you help people? Well, Wanda, you did really mess up, and so did apparently Doctor Strange. But I don't know. Maybe his mistakes were different because she did. And I think she's coming to terms of being sorry for what she did out of her mourning. And then I like that we're getting some development
she did it
of
for
that.
Herself though.
She did it for herself, and and we don't know. Maybe Doctor Strange, something else he's going to do that's going to be bad. But I guess him doing something for Peter and then having to fix it in the previous Spider-Man movie, which I've told Heather she has to watch Spider-Man because she loves the Doctor Strange movies. She didn't want to see the new Spider-Man. And I said you have to because it sets it up.
And there's a connection,
very
directing wise.
Sam Raimi.
Yes.
Sam Raimi.
That's right.
I love Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Have I mentioned that? Could you tell from the tone of
Well,
my voice?
Doctor Strange and Evil Dead, in a sense.
Well, because this is supposed to be a scary Doctor Strange movie.
Yes, well, Evil Dead, exactly.
Oh, man. But this looks so great. I cannot wait. May 6th, just a few short months away. Oh, man. This looks so cool. It's so exciting. I am down with this. But here's the movie I know you're excited for. Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion.
I love hearing his voice at the beginning of this.
Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch.
Not be devoid of merit.
Creation is an act of sheer will. Life will find a way.
We can't keep her here forever.
They find her, we're never gonna see her again. We gotta protect her. That's our job.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist. We created an ecological disaster.
Ellie Sattler.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
We're racing toward the extinction of our species. We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
Come back.
I always come back.
It's another plane, right?
Not exactly.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
June 10th, Jurassic World Dominion, which, building off of, and I'm glad they bring it up, the ecological disaster of letting them all loose that ticked me off.
And the
So
first
it's like, it was a
one,
dumb idea.
The first one came out June 11th, so I thought that was very interesting.
Kind of nice, yeah.
And you know what I noticed at the end there? They're all three standing together near the end there, and they're all wearing pretty much or very close to the same clothes, the colors even. Because she's wearing the pink with the blue, he's wearing the denim blue look, and talking about the Alan Grant. And Jeff Goldblum is wearing the black. I thought, man, they're nearly wearing the same color scheme as the original. I loved it.
Well, this summer experienced the epic conclusion to the Jurassic era as two generations unite for the first time. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are joined by Oscar winner Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, and Sam Neill in Jurassic World Dominion, a bold, timely, and breathtaking new adventure that spans the globe. Timely? For Jurassic World architect and director Colin Trevorrow, Dominion takes place 4 years after Isla Nublar has been destroyed. Dinosaurs now live and hunt alongside humans all over the world. This fragile balance will reshape the future and determine once and for all whether human beings are to remain the apex predators on a planet they now share with history's most fearsome creatures. And I think, once again, why does nobody listen to Malcolm?
Yes.
Ian Malcolm's usually right on these things. He's like, we're going to be subservient to nature.
But
at this
you
point.
know what is nice? That even though whenever they brought out the second film, it wasn't the greatest. But talking about the Lost World, the original Lost World.
Yeah.
What's really nice is...
Well, not quite the original Lost World. There was a film called The Lost World back in the 30s.
The original Lost World
but
of the
Jurassic Park, The Lost World, specifically.
Right. Whenever they brought that out, it was great that to hear him say that. Now that it could be replayed. You're right. Did you ever think you'd hear me say that? He said to Ian Malcolm, and that is now those words sound ever so true.
Yeah, he's right, and they never listen to him.
Yeah, but it's great though to know not because Ian Malcolm has to be right, but because to know that he came full talking about
John Hammond.
Hammond realized how wrong he was,
how wrong he had been,
and he became a very good man by the time. He was a good man anyway.
Yeah, he was a good man,
but he didn't allow that money, laundering to be laundering. I meant to say money.
The money he lost in that whole venture, and the money he invested in that.
He ended up allowing money to be his main goal for life, and eventually. He had good intentions.
But
unfortunately, it kind of won out over him, and he didn't mean to.
He wondered if he could, didn't stop to think if he should.
There
it is.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
I got one more thing.
Go ahead.
One more thing. Here we go. This is going to be short, though.
Streaming March 11th on Disney+.
May, breakfast is ready. Oh, hey!
From Disney and Pixar.
What's happening to me? This little quirk runs in our family. Yes! No!
That's just my energy.
Any strong emotion will release the panda.
Disney and Pixar's Turning Red, rated PG. Original movie streaming March 11th only on Disney+.
Wow. And you haven't seen anything of Turning Red, although we have discussed it, but I think it's the first time you've was watching it.
I actually watched it, yeah.
But it looks adorable.
It does look adorable. I didn't think it looked like a... Now, correct me here, because when you said it said panda...
A red panda.
Red panda. What, is that an actual critter? It looked like a fox.
Brother, we need to take you to the zoo. They're adorable in real life.
Really
we
cute.
have some at the Kansas City Zoo. I love them.
Oh,
they are so cute. They live in colder environments, and like in November, they have like a red panda day. Even that's
adorable
because it gets about the perfect temperature in a lot of zoos.
Look like a little fat fox.
They're kind of like that, but I don't know how they get because they're more similar to a raccoon.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, but I guess raccoons are supposed to be similar to pandas in a way, too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, red pandas are one of the cutest animals on this planet.
Yes, it's adorable looking.
And we have, you've probably seen one at the zoo because we took all
I
the
imagine
church kids
it
one
looks
time.
familiar.
Yeah, you've probably seen one. But I absolutely love them. They're some of the cutest little animals. That and tree kangaroos.
Oh, yeah.
Love tree kangaroos, but that's what they remind me of. But yeah, so in this, I'm hoping, because Disney's already cursed this one to not get a chance to be in the theaters. They're putting it straight to Disney Plus. We already discussed that at length. I'm hoping they don't decide, you know what, Lightyear's going to do better than our movies. Let's put it on Disney Plus instead of letting it go into theaters.
No.
But I don't want to get on that. I already got on that soapbox long enough. But, I'm still excited for it. I wish it was going to be in theaters. I'd like to have gone to theaters. It looks silly fun. Also, though, there's bits of it that makes me think Teen Wolf. Because we see like a dodgeball game and like she's starting to learn a little bit of control.
Oh, yeah.
And she's using a little bit of her giant panda. Because she's a
I didn't
giant
think
size.
about that, but
Red
yeah,
pandas are small. But she flings the dodgeball with a panda arm. Like she gets a little bit of control over it and use it.
Yeah, that's...
I'm sensing a lot of Teen Wolf vibes, which I kind of was getting when I first saw something about this probably like a year ago. But it looks at plus I love red pandas, so I'm in. I am down with this. So I think they said March 11th, so that's coming up in just under a month to Disney
there's
Plus.
a lot of good things coming out around now.
Yes, indeedy. But it's now time to leave the trailer park and talk about the Maestro. And I got some biography information. I mean, I went digging. I wanted to get like the best stuff. And I mean, there's a johnwilliams.org. It's an official site. I could almost read this, but I'm showing Philip how much information they have on him. But I mean, let's. The first line they have on this biography on his website says, "In a career that spans 5 decades."
Yes,
5 decades. John Williams has become one of America's most accomplished. He is the. Let's say he is the most accomplished and successful composers for film and for the concert stage. He has served as music director and laureate conductor of one of the country's treasured musical institutions, the Boston Pops Orchestra, and he maintains thriving artistic relationships with many of the world's great orchestras, including the Boston Symphony Orchestra, the New York Philharmonic, the Chicago Symphony, and the Los Angeles Philharmonic. Mr. Williams has received a variety of prestigious awards, including the National Medal of Arts, the Kennedy Center Honor, the Olympic Order, and numerous Academy Awards, Grammy Awards, Emmy Awards, and Golden Globe Awards. He remains one of our nation's most distinguished and contributive musical voices.
That's right.
90 years old and still going.
Yeah, that's right.
He ain't slowing down for nothing. Now, why don't heck, I might as well just use this. Well, the one thing is fun in television. I always forget about this one that he's credited. And when you look in television, Wagon Train, a lot of fun stuff. But we get in here. Where'd it go? Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, I knew that.
I always forget about that.
You know
one.
how I knew that? One day I was looking. I didn't realize it until I was looking up stuff on my computer one day of different John Williams music for my stuff, and I didn't realize that came up. I'm like, what?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And we all remember the theme to Gilligan's Island. It's a great theme. I mean, golly, who'd have thought? But the fun thing is, there's a lot of little films he did. But then the one I want to get into, let me guide it up here.
Even throughout his
Fitz
career,
Willie is actually available to actually watch on HBO Max.
Even
by the way,
throughout
he
his
did that
career,
one.
the weather started getting rough. The mighty ship was tossed.
Poseidon Adventure, but I believe, where's the one that I always remember? Sugarland Express. That is the one, 1974. That is the one Steven Spielberg saw that and loved the music.
That's right.
And chose like, hey, I wonder if this guy will come up and do Jaws. Now, I love this story of Jaws when John Williams had been working on it and invited Steven over. And John Williams, he's got a good sense of humor. He's kind of, hey, baby. He's kind of jazzy, and I guess apparently in his way of his manner. But he got Steven Spielberg over to his piano and went, doo-doo. And Steven Spielberg thought he was joking with him. I was like, that's funny, John.
He said it was too simple. And he said, but the best things usually are. This is about Steven here. He said the best things usually are. Well, yeah, because they said he's kind of a beatnik type.
Yeah, he's very old school. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, talking about John Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said he's so simple. He said he laughed because he said just couldn't be.
Yeah, he thought, you're pulling my leg. It's a joke. This is so funny. And then John Williams was like, this is your shark. Their music is your shark. Yeah. And as it gets closer, it gets more intense. And that's one of the scariest themes you'll ever hear.
He said, do it again. And he listened to it, and he's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And he said you can go faster with it, you go slower. Folks, to this day, I'm going to tell on myself here. I'm sorry about this, and my brothers, they're not going to hear this, but probably. But I'm going to tell you something. This happened one time long ago.
In a galaxy far, far near.
Oh no, right upstairs from where I'm at right now. Let me tell you something. I was a little boy. I think I was 5 years old, and I was taking a bath. And now, back in the day, little play toys and things, you know how it was, 5 years old. Anyway, I'm in there, and my brothers, there was a John Williams special that had been on TV, and we loved it. And it was on one of the award things. My brothers had recorded. They had a little tape recorder. They had recorded it, and whenever the orchestra had gone to play that music, my brother David, I believe it was, had recorded that music, and I was taking a bath, and all of a sudden he hit play, and I hear "Nun." Scared the crud out of me. I jumped out of the tub and ran down the hall. Scared.
Naked.
I believe I was. I just know I had to get the heck out of Dodge before that shark ate my butt out of the tub.
Yeah, out the tub.
That shows how much John Williams has so much power. Folks, do you know that John Williams is the reason that I learned how to swim? No joke. In the pool.
Because you wanted to swim away from the shark.
Now I know this shows how ignorant I was as a kid, but folks, I started swimming because I knew that Jaws 3 was about to come out, and when I'd be in the pool, I swear to you, I could hear dum dum, and I was afraid that Jaws was going to jump out of that pool
Come out of that water and get you.
I didn't care if it got everyone else, but it best not get me.
Doggone it. Yeah, you wanted to be the faster swimmer, so the slower swimmer gets eaten, but not you.
I'm telling you, that music is so powerful.
Yeah.
You could swear there's a shark near you.
Yeah, it's so scary.
That's how it spoke. You know, if it had been for that music, that movie wouldn't be near as good as it is.
Mm-hmm. It's what made that be such a blockbuster. I mean, it's a good story.
But
it's a better story than the book of Jaws 2, I must say.
But they couldn't make the shark do anything.
Right.
But you didn't need it with that music.
Your
that
shark.
music was a shark.
Yes, it was.
Thank you, John.
Woo! And now, so he did such a great job with that. Now, suddenly George Lucas has made this little independent movie, Star Wars, and he's like, man, I don't know how I'm going to score. And he'd put like a temporary score of classical music and everything. And his buddy Steven Spielberg is like, hey, let me put you in touch with John, who did my music for Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
And a legend is born in Star Wars.
Are you kidding me?
Woo!
Can you even imagine anybody? We can't.
I couldn't.
Now, granted, we've been born with this, and literally seeing how you were born right before the movie came out, and I was
the day after, the exact day after.
Well, still brand new baby, and I was just a baby when it came out. Mm-hmm. Our whole life, and everybody that since then, we can't imagine anything else.
No kidding.
And so many others after. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead. Is there any other movies?
No, I was listening in.
Well,
I mean, the only thing I was going to add is like one of the best compliments I've heard somebody say is like John Williams is good at telling you what to feel.
Yeah, well, yes.
He is the emotion. He is the heart of film when he composes.
I was telling you about the special they had. It wasn't just about him. It was about a lot of the music, the movies. They were mentioning how great his film and the movie that he had made come to life. One of them, of course, was Jaws.
Yes.
The other they were talking about at the time was... I'm talking about then, when I was little. Close Encounters.
Which is actually one of the next things on the list.
Close Encounters was so great. The way, it's so simple. And yet, bring it to life.
But you always know that, too. I've only seen like half of that movie. And
it's a great movie. I got.
Yeah.
But that did it, And then he also, right after that, it was between him and one of my other favorite composers at the time. But the one that, my favorite hero of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite superhero of all time.
Who could it be? Superman.
And I want to give credit where credit's due. The late great Richard
Donner.
He loved him so much. They said that when they started recording it, because it was between him and another composer who was good. But whenever he heard that, he said he could hear it going, Superman. He was so great. Listen to this. When they're sitting there recording it, Richard Donner ruined the recording because he was so excited. He was so excited for the film. He come running down as they're recording, going, yes, that's it. It's great. It's great. And he was up and down excited. You're so great. And I love it because Richard Donner was so outstanding. And everyone started clapping and the thing you got to know about Richard Donner, he was so excited that there was times that he would dress up like Superman and run around as Superman. So I can actually imagine him as Superman doing that.
Oh man. Oh.
But he brought that film to life.
Yeah, he did.
You can hear it.
Because you've got one of the longest credit scenes I remember as a kid.
Yes.
But you could listen to it.
I still do.
And it's so great.
And of course, E.T.
Oh yeah, we got to get into. Well, heck yeah,
Go ahead,
I would still want to comment a little bit more on Superman, where it's not.
Yes.
I've learned a lot. David W. Collins, the soundtrack show, breaks into the nuances of how the music, how it's telling you a story.
Yes, absolutely.
The way John Williams does, and it's a lot of, especially like Star Wars. You have that dun dun. Like, oh, we've achieved something, and then we get knocked down. Da 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 da. We've gone further. Da 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 da. We strike back. Da da da, and then resolve. It shows the climb, the struggle that he'll put into just even the theme, because that's Luke Skywalker's theme. That is about his struggle. And Superman, it has like the pageantry. It's a fanfare.
It is.
When you break it down. It is a fanfare, and it is like the. Because Superman is supposed to be like he's in the movie, they present him, he's the example. They want to be a great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only need the light to show them the way. And so Superman is supposed to be that example of he's helping everybody. He doesn't lie. He's the Boy Scout. Yes, I mean, but you have this fanfare for the character that is like it's presenting him as like this great and wonderful thing, and you feel it. Oh, you feel it.
He brings such emotion. But see, what's so great too is. For me personally, when I'm exercising, I use a lot of John Williams music, folks.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it. And because it gets me, Superman, obviously, and Star Wars, different ones. It gets to me. It makes me run. But I can't use all of it because the emotion.
Sometimes you get different emotions in the different things.
That's exactly right. Yeah. With Star Wars specifically, the one that gets to me every time, and I'm talking about the original now. When I say Star Wars, I'm talking about A New Hope, which, by the way, originally was just called Star Wars.
Right.
That's all it was. So that original movie, my favorite part is whenever Luke is looking out there and seeing
the Dune sunset.
When he's seeing that sunset.
Yeah. The Force theme. Yes.
That man, when he looks out and sees that sunset, anytime I'm going
binary sunset, that's what they call it.
Whenever I'm feeling very emotional, folks, that music comes to me.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it goes to the great whole orchestra. I love that. Woo! It's like, John, you're so brilliant.
Yes.
I love you.
But yeah, you wanted to mention, of course, E.T. is coming up a lot later. We'll definitely have to get in there, but we got other stuff before we get there that because we're talking Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and let's say the major thing out of there, you've got finally a theme for Darth Vader and the Empire. And it's pomp and circumstance, but it's scary in its own way. It is dread. It is, it knows like you're in trouble.
I gotta sing it.
Yeah, that the bad guys are here when you hear it, but it has this pomp and order to it, and it's a march, really.
My father was so great. My father was so great. He loved music, and he loved John Williams. But a lot of times. My dad was so awesome because whenever something big and bad was about to happen, he couldn't help himself. He a lot of times would go, dun, 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 dun. Politically, even if he saw someone he didn't like, I won't say who, he a lot of times would go, dun, 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 dun. That's how he was. And because you know what was so great? The music, no matter what you may think, music always brings mood.
Yes, it does. And it's emotion. Music is emotion.
This is why when you're in a Christmas mood, you have certain Christmas music. When you're in the mood church, when you're in mood at church, you need hymns. You need praise music, whatever it is. If you're in the mood at your birthday, what do you say? Happy birthday. That's what it is. You need something for emotion. You know what you're doing.
Yeah. Music is feelings.
Romantic, but tomorrow, Valentine's Day. Romantic songs.
By the time this comes out, it'll be Valentine's Day.
Romantic music. You know what I'm talking about.
Music makes you feel, and the best composers bring the feelings. I mean,
yes.
Of movies that make me cry, it's usually some of the music that does it to me, and it's frequently John Williams.
Certain notes.
You hit the certain ones, and we're gonna get into one later.
Pulls at your heartstrings.
Pulls them heartstrings, and always, But like the next thing that on the list that I got to bring up though. Although I got to say the Yoda theme, I love the playfulness you get in the Yoda theme at the beginning of the concert version that kind of shows that weird goofiness when Yoda is testing Luke's patience. But yet it has this almost a sacred quality of like this great
I know exactly
wisdom.
what you're talking about.
You know, that's the Yoda thing. But yet we have that playfulness of when he first shows up, and he's kind of funny, and he's this funny little thing, and then I cannot teach him. The boy has no patience. We suddenly like this funny little thing is. Oh, I'm getting chills just sitting here thinking.
Yes.
I tell you what, the tingles just went up and down my spine. But ooh.
Well, because he was basically he was playing, and he was putting on a kind of a show, you could say.
He was testing Luke.
He was testing.
You better believe it.
Because just one thing I love about
My
you.
homeless is. Yes, funny he's being, and then all of a sudden,
I cannot teach him. He becomes very serious.
Yes. And the music is right with it to tell
it's
you.
brilliant. Brilliant, folks.
He made a theme that had that quirkiness, but yet, we did see, even like in the prequels, Yoda had his own bit of sense of humor, but he would teach you something with his humor.
Yes.
Oh, lost a planet young Master Kenobi has. Find him for him, we will.
But first, my home.
But after he's being friendly with his kids, he's like, very mysterious and dangerous this is.
Yes.
He gets dreadfully serious in that movie.
Yes.
Pardon me, I'm drinking Mountain Dew.
Careful you must be.
Yes, I do not want to burp into the microphone. I'm trying not to.
Too much dew you drink.
Yes, I did do the dew. All right, but of course we did mention, we were about to get into Raiders of the Lost Ark. And this is yet another theme. Thank you, David W. Collins. Pointed out the human struggle, once again, in the theme.
Yes.
Achieving something. Get knocked back. Because what is the main thing about Indiana Jones? He gets knocked down, and he gets knocked down a lot. But every time he gets knocked down, he gets back up. And that's the theme. I'm up. Knocked down. Going further and getting through the victory. I mean, and he's victory, and I've got the idol. I mean,
holding on
to the idol.
Holding on. Hope I don't lose it. Holding on.
Yeah, but John Williams can tell you so much about a character just from the music that he. Oh my goodness! And you've got some great, and even like the Ark theme, that mysterious and scary. And one of the things I used to love. I haven't been to Silver Dollar City in a long time. Not since middle school. But they had a cave you could tour.
I remember.
Kind of nearby. And you'd go into like this huge chamber, one of the biggest chambers in a cave.
Yeah.
And they're playing the Ark theme, like as you're slowly descending down into the cave. And I'd get goosebumps.
Yes.
My goosebumps would get goosebumps. They were all tingling at the same time every time. I was like, dude, can we do this walk again? Just so you'll play that music for me?
And then when Disney, and I want to say at the time it was called MGM, but I think the
Disney MGM Studios.
Yeah, now what do they call it now?
Now it's just
Hollywood?
the Disney Hollywood Studios.
Well, they put in a Disney ride.
Indiana Jones ride. Disneyland, those were the ride.
Yeah,
but they put the stunt show in Florida.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm misremembering. I apologize. Disneyland. They have a Indiana Jones ride. How much fun is that? And when you go over there,
never gotten to ride it.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
I don't know. But the show is the stunt spectacular.
But when you go over there into that ride at Disneyland, what's so great is you hear that music playing, and it's outstanding. It's fantastic. It's great.
Yeah, because it builds up the dread of like those horrible things happening.
And Sala is their host.
Yeah, too bad it's not actually John Rhys Davies, but the guys does a really good job there. Whoever they voice,
it is him. He is.
Actually, there was a video where they had a convention where they had the guy who does the John Rhys Davies voice. It's not John Rhys Davies, but it's a really good impersonation. I probably could find it, but it was like a D23. They had him in there, but
he's on the film. He's on the film.
Yeah, he's on the film, but he didn't voice in the ride.
I see. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, the actual ride things they had somebody else do because John Rhys Davies could be expensive. Because
I see what you're saying.
It's also why you don't
He's
get.
Not the
they didn't
voice,
get a very good Harrison Ford though for the ride,
No.
but yeah, they did get John Rhys Davies to do the TV special.
Yes.
So which is kind of fun. They even got Marion to do this. I forgot the actress's name. Karen Allen. They got her in there, but yeah, John Rhys Davies. They had a really good impersonation to actually do his voice in the ride. I think it was a D23. I remember watching the video because I thought it had been because it was so good, but then the guy goes and he performs the voice. Because they frequently like to do that D23, like the people, off the rides come and do their voice and perform it, and So Corey Burton gets busy every time because Corey Burton's almost on everything over there. But anyways, all right. So the next thing, I don't know what Heart Beeps is, but yes, as you mentioned before, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Which
Heart Beeps. That was a movie. I just saw a thing about that a couple days ago. That was a movie that had, I want to say, Dan Aykroyd, and it had, I can't think of her name right now, but I see it. I just happened to see a special about it the other day.
I never heard of it.
It was, it was a movie about robots, basically.
Oh, okay.
And, but yeah, I just saw a special about it.
But anyways, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which is orchestrationally, it's a masterpiece from start to finish. I mean, it's Steven Spielberg's masterpiece. It's John Williams' masterpiece.
Oh, absolutely.
And that one, it contains so much emotion. That's the one. That's E.T. is like the first movie I think that just made me cry. And the music does so much to help you understand because it's. I mean, E.T. What's great about it is you get this weird, strange little creature, but it invites you to understand the story through its perspective, and the music helps. And that's even like I've recently collected a favorites collection that I've put on my flash drive, and one of the things I like is like the opening scene when you're being shown. Spielberg does it so well, and John Williams does it so well. You're getting to see the redwood forest through the eyes of this little alien who's like looking up in wonder at the redwood trees, and the music is like mysterious and scary, like it's a foreign thing to him. And you imagine what it'd be like if you didn't understand like a tree. It's like this whole new world for you, and you're just this tiny thing looking up in redwoods. But then from that point on, you start to the music is giving you E.T.'s emotions.
And you start to almost hear the screaming. Remember that?
Yeah, but like with the emotional content of what John Williams can do, he helps you feel E.T.'s emotions, and he gets you in there, and boy, he'll make you cry.
It's just
and
like what he did with Jaws. I mean, because as you know, that shark wasn't working, so he's like, I'll
scare you.
I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can.
Oh yeah,
and, that camera would come up. And that camera became the shark.
Yeah, you were seeing everything from that perspective.
The shark doesn't work. But look, to be honest with you, and I know this had nothing to do with that music, but in a way it does because the music took over. But the fact that he said, in my opinion, it was so great that shark didn't work.
Yeah,
because it's so much better the way. If you
look at the shark when you actually see it, it's very fakey looking.
And if you ever look and see how they had it all planned out and had it all drawn out, and it would have jumped up on board. You would have seen the beginning of the movie. It would happen. It would have taken away so much mystery.
Yeah.
It would not have been near as good. And John Williams did so great at not only making that shark happen, but the way he made E.T. happen.
Yeah.
It was so much better.
Yeah.
And John Williams a lot of times becomes, whether you realize it or not, he becomes one of the main stars of the films for Steven and George and many others. But in this case, mysteries and stuff.
Yeah. But now we move right along. I mean, we could spend a lot of time talking Star Wars movies. I mean, because we got still, of course, Return of the Jedi. New themes in there. I love the theme he made for Luke and Leia.
Oh yes, me too.
It holds such gravitas and weight of like this whole learning. They're a lot about their past and their history, and like this connection thing with the Force and their father.
Yes.
It's such a great piece.
The part that
I think might be my favorite Star Wars music.
One of my favorite parts of that too is at the end, because he puts a kind of a choir in there, where you have the when the Emperor's coming on him.
Oh
and you can hear, and I swear every time I hear it, because I listen to it a lot, I can hear his father. Darth Vader. I'm sorry if I ruined it for anyone.
If you didn't know.
But when he turns and picks up the Emperor to throw him.
Oh, and how those voices kind of fade out.
You're like, oh my gosh, the power of that.
Yeah.
And because Luke is losing it. He's lost his cool. He's just taking all out on Darth Vader, and good. And the whole thing is so, I get goosebumps sometimes.
Yeah.
It's so overpowered. The music, everything is so, ooh boy. It's something else.
And even to just jump ahead, because I do want to be able to wrap this at some point, but because if we spend our time going through every daggone movie,
I know.
But I don't know why I never had noticed before until I heard it on a podcast, where you go now to the Phantom Menace, and that celebratory theme at the end of the film is the Emperor's theme sped up into a joyful march.
I know.
It's so scary when you realize, because who's actually had the victory there? It was Palpatine.
But that shows the brilliance again of John Williams.
Yes, he can take even his like dark Emperor's theme and make it, it's the joyful, but it's like he's telling you something.
But you have to think it through because he puts other stuff with it so that it's almost disguised.
Yes.
But then again,
that's the Phantom Menace.
I just realized the brilliance of it.
Menace.
Yeah, it's a mask.
So the people who don't understand that movie, that hate it so much, is like, you don't get what's happening.
I personally don't like it much.
It's like you have to understand what's really going on. Is the whole plot, even as taxation. That's a dumb idea. This is how Palpatine took power.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. However, it's still got some very interesting gravitas to it.
And a lot of it is because of Mr. John Williams.
Brilliant. And
Mr.
I
John
gotta
Williams.
say, we're jumping ahead, but
I'm
we'll
going to come back.
We'll get to that.
But I wanted to bring up because I don't want to have to go through every movie because there's just too many.
Sure.
The fun thing is, I can't think of the music of Space Camp. I remember watching a lot of time.
That's a good movie.
Empire of the Sun. I know if I heard the music, I'd recognize it again.
I just listened to that music the other day.
The Empire of the Sun? Because I remember the music being that good.
I
the main part I remember of Empire of the Sun is you have a young Batman. Did I get
Christian Bale?
I
just watched that movie.
I can bring everyone back. Everyone.
I just watched that movie the other day for
Empire of the Sun?
all the way through for the first time.
I haven't seen it in like 30 years.
The music was so great. And I said, that's John Williams. I recognized it right away. That's John Williams. It was so good.
Yeah. You can just tell because he's got a way of even the movement. And there's always some movement going on. If he's doing like low tones underneath of it, there might be some movement that brings things along. And of course we got Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and the great theme he did for that too. But I was mainly thinking of like the I want to call it a goblet, but that's dang it. For the cup.
Yeah.
There's but you know what I mean. There's this great
not the gauntlet the
Holy Grail.
Holy Grail.
The Grail has its own theme and the legend behind it, and John Williams brought a great theme into that.
Yes, because one of the things I love is the ghost, the Crusader.
Yeah,
with it. That's brilliant.
And when you see him and you're hearing that theme, as his hands, I'm tingling again.
Yes,
he raises a goodbye.
But you know what I love too. This is also John Williams. Now, Steven Spielberg, of course, great. But I love whenever he goes, Junior, Indiana, let it go. Oh, brilliant.
That's a great movie. Of course, we're talking about the movie itself, but I mean, the music.
The
music, yeah.
No, but I'm talking about the music because the way
that
the
is
music
still my favorite.
The music was so brilliant in that too because it just kind of fades down. And that takes brilliance too.
To know when to back off and let
the acting of the great late great
Sean Connery, yeah, brother.
James Bond, the James Bond,
right?
The original.
That's right, the James Bond.
Because if it weren't for him, the movies wouldn't be what they are.
Because he was so charming.
That's right.
He was. Oh yeah.
Why say thou?
And there's a lot of great things I can mention between, but the next one that I really have to jump to, Home Alone. Which is an unexpected movie. You don't expect his work in something like that.
What movie? What shows are you skipping? I want to hear all of them real quick.
Well, I mean, there's...
Just name it real quick. We'll go through them.
I'm trying to keep this under 2 hours, brother. I'm skipping. I'm skipping Born on the 4th of July, Always.
Good movie, yeah.
I've heard of Presumed Innocent.
Always is great. Yeah, Presumed Innocent.
Always, I think I saw at least once. But I got it. He's done so much that I can't talk about everything.
Just name the names real quick.
I already just did. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. Home Alone, brother. Home Alone.
Great song.
Or John Williams wrote a fantastic Christmas song.
Yes, he did.
That even when hearing it sung by children, somewhere in my memory. And that's the thing is, you don't think about it when you see it because it's a different style than what we're used to because we're hearing them in Raiders and Star Wars. And then suddenly you got this goofy little John Hughes movie. And like, wow, the music's pretty good. But then when you hear Somewhere in My Memory, you're like, oh my gosh, this is John Williams. And it was almost not John Williams. They had somebody else who had started it. And
I came home and used to play it on the piano, just the theme. Ding, ding, ding. And it also simple.
And it's a great little Christmas tune. And it grabs such emotion. And really, without John Williams, he gave heart to Home Alone to where you knew it wasn't just about a little kid fighting off burglars. It was about family.
Yeah, great stuff.
A lot. And
there was something about that old man. Great actor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the way, didn't he do the music for Amazing Stories?
Yes.
Okay, because that old man, and I can't remember the actor's name. I'm sorry, I can't recall his name.
But he pops up in that too?
But he's in one of the best stories, the Amazing Stories, and it was one of the best episodes. I have those season 1.
Yeah.
And he does this great episode on there. And I'm telling you, it's so great. And that actor is outstanding. Steven Spielberg did that episode, I believe. And
it was his series, wasn't it?
It was his series, but he directed a couple episodes.
Which is probably how you get John Williams in there doing the
John
theme.
Williams, he does brilliant. If you ever get to watch Amazing Stories, folks, most of those are just tremendous. And, just good stuff.
They used to, I think, were on Netflix for a while.
I'm telling you, good stuff.
Yeah.
But the music on there is brilliant. So,
and it's
I'm
John
telling
Williams,
you,
of course.
it's great stuff. He did a couple like that. That's great.
All right, so moving along. The next thing listed, 1991, Hook.
Oh, I love that soundtrack.
Yes.
I was gonna say when I first saw Harry Potter, heard of it, the soundtrack reminded me so much of Hook.
Yeah,
because
and a lot of it is that use of that celeste that you hear at the beginning.
Yes.
Which I always thought was like, because I'm used in marching band and concert band, we'd have these chimes, and I thought for a while that maybe it was that, but it didn't quite sound like chimes. But it was a celeste, and I know David W. Collins has explained a celeste, but you play it similar to like a piano. It's played like that, but it's got that almost ethereal kind of.
I think I've seen
tone.
that on YouTube once. Yeah,
like I've never seen what a celeste looks like, but apparently you play it similar to like a piano, but it has that different. It has like its own unique, just special sound, but it's a very Christmassy town.
I may have to get something like that. That sounds cool, Celeste.
The Celeste, yeah, and you spell it kind of like Celeste from what I've seen it spelled out, but I don't know where I think David W. Collins explained where the instrument came from, but you call it a celeste, and it's just got that beautiful sound.
That's
and I remember at the opening of Hook. Well, no, that's Home Alone. It's in Home Alone.
Yeah.
But you get a similar opening there in Hook when they're opening up into the play.
Yeah.
But Hook had that great adventuring tone. And even had a great song. And it was great because that tune there was so pompous. It was so much Hook. It was Hook's actual theme for himself, and it had this pompousness thing that just
was
fit.
arrogant.
It was elegant and pompous, and yet piratey.
And I loved whenever Peter Pan. Of course, I love Peter Pan. You know that.
Well, obviously, I do. I'm the Spider Pan, man.
Peter Pan's always been my favorite fairy tale, if you want to call it that. My favorite type of thing like that.
It's fantastic.
And I love his theme song for that when it comes to flying and all that.
No, I'm going Home Alone again.
Either way, when he fly, he had a great little theme for that.
When he first flies to Neverland, the flight to Neverland music.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, brother.
And that'd be whenever you go to fight him and all. But it's great stuff. Yeah, they'd say it was great stuff.
Yeah. Hook's not always gives as much as respect as it deserves, but it's a great movie, and the music is fantastic.
It's just my opinion.
People weren't ready for a grown-up Peter Pan.
I think
that's the complaint I hear.
My big problem with it in this sense was they try to go a little too Home Alone, in it.
But I like that part where the Lost Boys fighting in goofy ways. That was fun.
That's not what I'm talking about. I think they tried to go a little too Home Alone, where they weren't quite sure what they were doing. I think they should have just stuck with the story. Kind of went back and forth, but that's anyway. Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The music was great.
It's fantastic.
The music's outstanding.
All right, now I'm going to jump ahead. I mean, we got JFK, Far Away, Home Alone 2, but next, Jurassic Park.
Oh,
and this is, I mean, you almost have two themes. Because you have the main theme, but then you have the anthem for Jurassic Park. And one of them, I mean, he's encompassed both the splendor and the magnificence of like these amazing animals.
Yeah.
And then you've got this adventure music.
I love that too.
And at the same time, he's got this nice, scary
The main theme itself is amazing.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah. That's one of the first times I remember buying, they had a cassette single that had the theme and the anthem on it.
I went and bought the whole sound. You remember that?
Yeah, of course. I got the whole soundtrack too. I had it on cassette and I've got it on a CD.
Yeah, me too. I
remember at first I bought that cassette single just because like,
that's another one. I'd get on the piano. Look, I didn't know how to play the piano. But I would always and I find my way until I found
bought sheet music for that. I wanted to learn it on a piano, but I never could. It was so complex.
But I'll tell you, the music was so brilliant.
I can't play piano anyway.
I just love that movie. And that first one I saw so many times in the theater. I just love that movie. I've never seen a movie that many times in the theater like I did that one.
Yeah.
15 times.
Yeah. I think I went in 13, if not 14.
I've seen it since then. I've seen it 2 or 3 more times. But since then, I went back again when it came out.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it in the theater since
then. But brilliant film. Brilliant.
Yeah.
The music and John.
The music brought you in.
You did it, brother.
It brought you in. All right, now we got some other great ones like Schindler's List.
Yes.
I kind of vaguely remember the music from that one, but oh my gosh, he can make you cry again.
Brought you alive. Man.
I can't watch that movie. It's too rough.
Oh.
It's too bright on my emotions.
It is.
Sabrina, Nixon,
Yes.
Sleepers, Rosewood, The Lost World. He did come back at least to do that one. Saving Private Ryan. That's another one of those movies.
The music's outstanding in there.
But I can't watch it. It's too rough.
I love it though, but it's rough.
It's heartbreaking. Especially that beginning. It's like, oh
gosh. Well, that's real as real can be.
Well,
in my
it is.
opinion.
Yeah.
It's one of the most real. I feel like I'm there. I'll be honest. When I'm there in the beginning of that thing, I find myself ducking. Like I'm going to get shot. But
It's
more or less,
darn scary.
I mean, I feel like I'm with them. Like let's do it. Let's go. And then every time I played a World War II game, especially at D-Day, I've never felt more alive, like with it actually there. But when I'm playing those games, because they do such a good job.
Yeah.
But I oftentimes feel like, where's Ryan? I feel like I'm in the movie. But
we got to protect Ryan. Yeah.
But he brought that movie to life.
All right, but I'm going to move. I'm jumping up ahead because we know some more Star Wars came along with the Phantom Menace. But I want to move it, and you
Phantom Menace.
earlier.
I wanted to mention this. Are you a Phantom Menace now?
I'm going to Harry Potter.
Okay, first
because we got to keep going.
I want to say it's about Phantom Menace
because we're going 2 hours.
The Duel of the Fates.
Yes,
that music
released it as on the radio. Even.
And that movie, that Duel of the Fates, I work out to that still. Duel of the Fates is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard.
And even he got like a Sanskrit poem and brought it to life and brought it to music.
Brilliant.
Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Harry Potter. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
But the next the big things like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yes.
I mean, with Hedwig's theme that everybody knows.
Yes.
But not only that, but the piece that's a concert piece that's Harry's Wondrous World.
Yes.
That just oh my golly.
That's a great music.
And I have all those soundtracks as well, of course.
Did that come out in 2001?
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, 2001, yes.
The reason why I was going to say I don't want to skip over that too fast, but there was a movie he brought out, I think it was 2002, but there was a movie that he did music for called Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, and that's mentioned down here, 2002.
Yeah, Catch Me.
I didn't see that one.
I got that. It's a great movie.
I've heard it's
the
fun.
music. It's so different than anything you're used to from John Williams. Beautiful. More
onto his jazz roots, I guess.
It is, and it's still with the movie stuff he does, and it's so good and based off a true story, nearly perfect to the true story. I'm telling, and Tom Hanks, folks, and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, that's like a Master of Disguise kind of criminal or something.
Brilliant
I should
movie.
see it one of these days. I've heard stuff of good stuff.
Outstanding film.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance. And John Williams, oh man, nothing like you that you're used to seeing. But I'm telling you, great. Oh, Gary Oldman. I mean, excuse me, not Gary Oldman. I'm gonna say, can't think of his name at the moment. A guy who.
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
I always get a weird kind of thing, and I'm not getting Walken. I'm getting something else.
He's his father in it.
Oh, nice.
And I'm telling you, this movie. Anyway.
Yeah. But there's so much more we could mention with the Harry Potter series. There was some more Star Wars movies to come, and all these other ones. But I mean, golly, I can't get into everything because we just don't have that sort of time. But I want to jump to an article that was in the New York Times. And this is written up by Javier C. Hernandez. At the outset of the coronavirus pandemic, when the film production came to a halt and recording studios shuttered, John Williams, the storied Hollywood composer and conductor, found himself for the first time in his nearly 70 years, or really, or how many? Yeah, 7-decade career, nearly 7-decade career, they're saying, without a movie to worry about. But basically, what this article is talking about, and he's got a lot of, on his website, you find a whole list of concertos and stuff he's written. But
I can't wait.
He's wanting to kind of pull off of doing so many movies because he's got constraints and everything's got to be out at a time. But, it's tired of the constraints of films, the deadlines, the need for brevity, the competition of ever-blaring sound effects, the work eating up half a year. He says he will soon step away from movie projects. But what he wants to do in his next phase, he plans to focus more intensely on another passion, writing concert works, of which he has already produced several dozen. He has visions of another piece for a longtime collaborator, the cellist Yo-Yo Ma, for anyone, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon,
yes.
Yo-Yo Ma, he's brilliant. And he's planning his first proper piano concerto. John Williams is on the move.
Yes.
Doing some more brilliant stuff. At 90, he ain't stopping.
To quote Kramer from Seinfeld, Yo-Yo Ma.
Yo-Yo Ma.
When he
Yo-Yo Ma.
He got hit in his head one time, and he just yells at it, Yo-Yo Ma.
Alrighty, now we're running really long already, but I got to get into the Book of Boba Fett. Now, if you have not seen the finale or the series Book of Boba Fett, if you waited because you wanted to binge watch the whole thing and you haven't done it yet, pause the show right here, skip ahead, and come back. I'm going to give you a minute. Or not a full minute, but I'm going to give you a little time. While I'm just jabbering on, this is your time why haven't you paused? You didn't pause yet. You're still here. Okay, when I spoil it, you cannot blame me because you didn't stop. You didn't pause. I gave you a warning. But Book of Boba Fett, let's get it into.
Who are you talking about? Are you Joe Pesci? Or are you?
I don't know. I don't know. But oh my goodness, this finale, and the lead up, I love, and now I got to get into one little thing that I saw a complaint, and I had to roll my eyes at this complaint. Because we had a great episode where we got to see where, Din Djarin, we picked up where he was, and he's trying to learn how to use the Blacksaber. But then we also get to go, he gets some armor made out of that staff to go to take to Grogu. And we get a great scene of Luke Skywalker teaching Grogu, and Grogu learning to basically bounce around like Yoda did. I mean, Grogu's learning some stuff. But I loved, at the end, there's that Luke sits him down and says, okay, here's your friend, the Mandalorian here, Din, Mando, whatever you want, Din, brought you this armor. And you can choose this and you can go back with him. Or let me offer you, if you want to continue this was Master Yoda's lightsaber. If you want this, you stay here, but you have to let him go. And remember, your life is very long. His is going to be very short in the overall span of yours. So he gives him... Now, I saw somebody make the complaint. It's like, well, he can be a Mandalorian and a Jedi, because even the guy who made the Darksaber was that. So that wasn't what the choice was about. The choice was, and when Luke even says this, it's about the attachment. Yes. It's like, if you have enough attachment, he's like a father figure. And if you want to go with him, that's fine. But you have to choose, because attachment is what got Luke's father in trouble.
And if they were wise, they would have realized, of course, I'm getting really weird here, overboard, but the guy who did it was not a Jedi. The guy who did it obviously was going with the dark side. Obviously.
Well, I know they go into a bit more story, but I haven't gotten into the full thing. But I mean, they tell you a little bit. But he had been a Jedi.
Had been.
I don't know what all happened to the guy. I don't know.
But he obviously, at that point, obviously in the sense that he was had people of the dark side with him. He obviously had left that, and that's the whole point, is that he was no longer doing what he ought to be doing. And so, therefore, I don't
know if it'd be obvious unless they've done it, because they've got to develop that story, but I don't know the whole story.
Well, seeing how he was in a TIE fighter and he was wearing armor of the dark side.
That's not where the Darksaber comes from. I'm talking the maker of the Darksaber.
Oh, I thought
it was a Mandalorian Jedi.
I thought you meant the guy that
No. That Darksaber was even around before that in Rebels.
I knew that.
I
thought you meant the one who he
No,
got it from.
No, because that guy was on Mandalorian. He stole that.
Yeah.
But the guy who made the Darksaber was a Mandalorian who was a Jedi, and this guy was like, well, you had a guy who was a Jedi and a Mandalorian, and he made the Darksaber. But that's not the point. It's not that Grogu could be both Mandalorian and Jedi. Sure. It's just that he had an attachment to, because Din was like a father figure for a while.
Sure.
And if he has that attachment, there's too much chance that something could go wrong.
That's the whole Anakin thing again.
Yeah, and exactly. That's why Luke had that concern. So I'm like, that's why I have no complaints, but I thought it was a very good scene. Of course, I knew how it was going to resolve, because I'm like, they needed to have a way where Grogu could still be in the Mandalorian series, because let's face it, he's carrying that series.
And he can come back to Luke. The character can go back. To Luke later.
Long after Din Djarin's gone, Grogu may be near his teenage years. I don't know.
He may be.
He could still probably come and train.
He may mature.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, he's still a baby. At least to us, and maybe this is what they need to do, and because people are going to complain if he's not in the series, they're going to complain.
Yeah, people were watching it for Grogu. The rest of it's good stuff though.
But Grogu is we'll just say this:
he's the Steve Urkel.
Don't do that.
But Family Matters became known as Urkel.
That's the Jar Jar. No, he's.
But Urkel is what kept that show going.
I was going to say that he was the fisher's hook, the fisherman hook. He was what they would reel him in.
He was the bait on the hook that pulled us in.
Yeah. That baby, how can you not
everybody
love
loves
him?
Grogu.
He's so cute, and lovable, man. And he's got such personality. He really does.
Especially he loves going fast.
Did you notice? And folks, if you're not watching, you shouldn't be listening. But
we already told him. It's too late now.
Did you notice that the Rhea Perlman character in there? Did you notice that
she looks like Rhea Perlman, doesn't she?
That's what she's going for, I think. But did you notice that what she said? She is us, the people that don't like the Grogu name. Did you notice they used her to be us, those who didn't like? I'm not saying us like me.
People who can't let go of calling him Baby Yoda, which was.
But I like how she was. She was that. She was.
That's
them.
a terrible name for him. Yeah,
she was them. I thought that was great. That's terrible. I'm not calling you that. I thought that's perfect.
Here's my little buddy.
The writers were perfect in that way. They did that so greatly. That was so great.
Yeah. But I got to say, I loved final bit. Granted, there's some other stuff in this final episode I want to talk to you, but with Grogu's personality, with him tapping on the glass, trying to get Din Djarin to hit the button for the super speed on that thing.
Little kids do.
So he go, woohoo!
Little kids,
I loved how this episode, everything you were they built throughout the series finally all came to a head. The Rancor riding that Boba Fett wanted to learn how to ride it, and R2. What I was expecting though is R2 to deliver Grogu himself and see that there's something going on, and that's how they were going to deal with those giant droids. Is R2 and that X-wing was going to blast those droids? That's what I thought. But
what I loved,
it was super cool though.
Going back to the original appearance of Boba Fett. He first appeared on a dinosaur, riding on a saddle.
Yes,
and this was like
not really a dinosaur, but
a Star Wars dinosaur.
Yeah, Star Wars dinosaur.
We're talking about the Christmas special, 1978.
Yes.
And they brought that back. That he's on a saddle, but now it's on the Rancor.
Yeah,
because if you've not seen it, on that first cartoon, the very first Boba Fett appearance, he gives this dinosaur-looking thing.
The cartoon is on Disney Plus.
Yes, it is.
So you can watch the cartoon.
But he appears in front of Luke Skywalker in that dinosaurish looking thing.
I don't think it was a dewback, was it?
No, but it had a long neck, kind of brontosaurus looking, brachiosaurus, what you want to call it.
Like a Star Wars dinosaur. Well, that's its official name now, a Star Wars dinosaur.
Yeah, Star Wars, whatever it's supposed to be, but we'll call it that. Yeah.
One quick thing, while we're talking about cartoons, I almost bought it. I didn't know they were making these. They have, the Droids animated series.
I loved it.
They've made toys. I saw a C-3PO that was designed to look like the cartoon.
Back in the day, they had it. Remember they came with the little coins?
Vaguely.
And they even had the Boba Fett back then, like that.
Nice.
Nice. And it would be okay because he showed up on the cartoon back then.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. Please don't quote me because I could be wrong. It seems like even then they had no. That Droids, if I'm not mistaken, was either after the movies or before. I can't recall. But if it was after, I think they had an excuse of why he was out.
Yeah. Well, the droid series in the Ewoks was both after Return of the Jedi.
Okay, that's right. It seems like they had an excuse, a reason why he was out. Like he got out or something.
Yeah.
But I know in the comic books they did, he was burped out. and I know you know how they but what's great is, at least in the comic book that I'd read, what happened was he was fighting Han Solo again on top of the sand crawler, machine of the Jawa, and it went in, and so he was eaten again. But it was fun.
Poor Boba.
Well, he gets what he gets.
The only other complaint, though, I've heard about this series is people says like, well, he's different than he was before. It's like, well,
he's growing.
He's grown. He's matured as a person, and
a better man.
And he even talks about that he's tired of working for other people. That he does things that he doesn't really want to have to do.
I will tell you this.
So he wanted to be his own boss.
I will tell you this. I don't have to keep mentioning all these things, but I've gone through an awful lot in my life.
Yeah.
Life and death situations. I've gone through a lot of surgeries and all these things.
Yeah, and facing his own mortality, I think that makes you change.
I'm getting ready to say. I've nearly died many a times.
Oh, yeah.
And when you go through life and death situations, I'm getting very serious for what we're talking about, but when you go through life and death situations and you nearly die several times, you change.
Oh, yeah.
Because you decide, heck with this, I'm not going to do these things anymore. I'm going to become a different person.
Boba Fett, hero of the people. But he's still
scummy in a sense.
In his own way. He's still running the town in the criminal empire, but no more spice.
He's going to do it dirty, but he's going to do dirty as clean as he can.
Yeah. He doesn't want to hurt anybody in the process.
That's right.
He wants to protect the people that he's kind of the daimyo over.
Yeah, exactly.
And Cad flippin' Bane, brother.
Yeah, I love it.
And he came in, and somebody made a fun little thing with the good, bad, and the ugly kind of thing with Cad Bane.
That's right.
Because he came in with his hat, and I was like, no way.
You see, that's the thing. there's the good and the bad, and then there's the ugly, and the ugly was worse than the good and the bad. So I would say in this situation, the ugly are the villainous, horrible, go behind your back and twist, and so he's not bad, he's good. But even the good are dirty. Yeah. Even by dirty, I don't mean villainous. I mean they get dirty. They get down.
Get their hands dirty.
They get their hands dirty. They do stuff that's not really the best. But sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty to take care of those that are ugly.
Yeah.
The ugly would be those people that said they were going to do right, and then they went behind the pike.
The people who joined with the pikes syndicate that were like,
they said, we're on your side.
No, we'll stay out of your way. Go ahead, and then they didn't.
The only complaint I'd have,
I love the Wookiee guy, and I'm glad he survived. I was so worried he was going to die.
Wasn't it the comic he was in before?
I don't know.
I read about it, and they said I couldn't remember if it was a comic or a game, so I didn't want to lie here.
Yeah.
Now, only complaint I have about the series, and this is not me complaining about the series really, but there's a character who's supposed to be Urkel-like, and but I didn't like the what they call him, split tail or whatever.
Oh, the Twi'leks.
I didn't like him, and not talking about the actor,
the one guy who was supposed to be comic relief there.
Yeah, I thought he was a little too sitcom-like, but I know they purposely.
I am a negotiator. I was trained in Coruscant.
He was very obnoxious, and I know he's supposed to be.
I was hoping something would happen. He would actually die.
I wanted him to die. But see, but it shouldn't be that way. What I mean is, if he's supposed to be comic relief, if he's supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to actually like him, that's not how you're supposed to be thinking about it.
Right. We're not like, oh, come on, say something stupid and let somebody just shoot him.
Because here's the thing. He was so obnoxious that, to me, he wasn't fun, and he changed the beat of the show. Like, it would start off kind of dark and fun and very Star Wars like, the classic Star Wars, and then he'd be like, excuse me, and he's talking like,
we're having a serious Butch Sundance Kid, whatever, Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid moment about to happen, and then he speaks up, oh, can I offer a third option,
And this happened.
He interrupted when we were building this
episode.
Thing. Yeah.
And every episode, he would come in and like, you really killed the moment.
Yeah.
I don't want to use a dirty phrase here, but some people use a certain phrase for blocking.
Yeah.
And I felt like
you're blocking the fight.
he was blocking, I'll say, the Star Wars out of a lot of episodes. And again, not the actor. I'm sure the actor's funny. He's great. The character was we'll say the Star Wars block. To me, he would block the Star Wars feeling. He was a force block. He was a force block.
He was force blocking
of so many of great moments, and I just think that he wasn't well written, or at least well performed in that situation. That's just my own personal complaint. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It'd have been fine without that character being in there.
Yeah.
Unless if he would have come out with his stupid, if he would have read the list and then got shot for it, I would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
That'd have been fitting.
I had different people say I complained about it.
Because he was, to me, he was just as dirty as that mayor.
Oh, he was dirty.
He was dirty
now,
as
he
heck,
was paid
man.
to be dirty, but I will say this, like I complained about it online. Someone said, I thought he just made the show because blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I am.
Yeah.
For their sake, I mean. I wasn't being sarcastic. I was honestly being honest. And I am glad they enjoyed it because at least someone did.
Yeah.
But I think it changed the tone
of
where he was heading at that moment. And I think sometimes when people think they're writing something funny, and maybe they really were at the time, but the performance of it and all, again, not the actor. I think the actor is great to his own credit. But I just think it didn't quite fit. It.
Especially because we had such a great build-up where Mando and Boba Fett were about to go out and just make their final stand.
Yeah.
And we were just built up and like, go out and make that stand. And we did kind of get it later.
Yes.
But to have that guy interrupt, which I knew is like, oh, Boba's going to write up something that's going to get the guy. I was expecting him to get something to get the guy killed.
And I would have been okay.
And that would have been a good payoff there if he'd have gotten killed out there.
Because he was kind of villain.
Yeah. But I was kind of expecting, like, go, you guys are Bantha Poodoo, go stuff your head up a Bantha's backside or something.
Something.
I was expecting that written up. I can't remember what actually he wrote on it.
But it was more or less, we're going to shoot you or something to that effect.
And but they came out and got to see how tough that armor is, but they're still getting knocked down, man, as they're overwhelmed. And one of the things that was kind of fun, it was a little predictable, but every time you thought, this is it, they're going to die, that's exactly when somebody else was going to suddenly show up as a surprise. But that's actually how I expected R2 to finally show up, was with the two big droids. I'm like, oh, there's no way they're going to figure out how to do this. R2 will show up. But then we didn't get R2. We got the Rancor.
I love that.
Oh, that was so cool.
And I
that
loved
great
how,
moment with Grogu there.
I loved how when Boba Fett was no longer on the Rancor. The Rancor lost his stuff, and he went nuts. And you had a Godzilla and King Kong combined moment where he's doing his King Kong best and going up to the top. And I love that because Boba Fett, I'd forgotten until he was off of him. I forgot that the Rancor was only under control because of Boba Fett. Because of Boba Fett.
Boba Fett made friends with it, and he didn't know. The Rancor didn't know any of these other people.
No, he was just like, screw this.
And they established when Boba was met him, the guy who brought him says like, well, they're actually pretty docile unless they feel threatened, and then you better look out. Yeah. And Grogu kind of I like how Grogu kind of understood it. Grogu was like, I'm no threat. It's okay, buddy.
And he would lay down next to him.
I love that he laid down with him, and they just took a little nap together.
And he was snuggling with him.
Yes, like, no, this is my friend. We're okay. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is so great.
He's so cute. I just love him.
It was a fantastic show. I loved how it concluded. Now,
the music was great too.
Will we get a Boba Fett season 2? I don't know.
I hope
we do. But I mean, it feels like we were bridging the gap into the next adventures with the Mando. But Mando can have some adventures with Boba Fett,
or Boba Fett can go do his own thing.
Well, he's going to be there in Mos Espa. I'm pretty sure he's running things.
That's what I mean. He
can have some new adventures.
They're fun, and Mando goes house. What's his name?
Who? Din Djarin?
Din Djarin. I can't remember.
A lot of people just call him Mando, which is kind of a throwback to like the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and Clint Eastwood's character. Which it's kind of a fun nod.
And coming in May, we have another show.
Oh, I almost forgot to put that in the news. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
And I'm so thrilled.
Yeah.
Now, what day is May 4th on this year?
I don't know.
But either way, this is May 25th.
May 25th.
That's right. The day before someone I know's birthday.
Yeah. Might be me. Happy birthday to me. Here's your Obi-Wan series.
Here's your Obi-Wan series.
Which I have no idea what to expect, how they're making a series out of this. I have no idea what's coming. I need to go and watch Rebels.
Except I do know this. We do know that we get to see Vader, and it is Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, we see Hayden Christensen. I don't know how this works.
Did you see any of the previews where you see him practicing, and he's got his face covered because his face.
I haven't seen anything.
Oh, just for a split second, they show that he's practicing. He's practicing with the lightsaber, and he's as they're practicing how to swing around.
Yeah.
And I think it's brilliant. He has the bottom part of his face covered just for himself, practicing swinging the sword. I think how brilliant. He's actually got the bottom part of his face covered.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder how that works because, I mean, really, this is a part where Obi-Wan is in hiding.
Yeah.
And if he uses the Force, Vader's going to find him.
I can't wait to see it.
So I want to see how this works. Although I think we are kind of getting to see, of course, this is post-Vader, what we're seeing a lot of Grogu thing. But, if Vader's going to know the presence of Obi-Wan and he's going to find him,
Yeah.
If he does too much. So I want to see how they play this out to where Obi-Wan, who's basically pretending to be just this old hermit.
But I just thought of something. It's just a thought. You remember? Oh, maybe he's not on Dagobah. But I was thinking, what if he found something like on Dagobah, the little memory thing?
That's the big thing. Like Yoda could be hidden in Dagobah. So. But anyways, we better wrap this thing up here because this has been a very long show. But yeah, we're excited to see Obi-Wan and where it goes. But of course, we want to remind you, go to neverlandpodcast.com where you can find links to my podcast reviews for just a very slow fee. You can get, if you have a podcast, you can get all reviews sent to your email. And of course, we always want to thank you, Karen Kennedy, Ricky Pope of Christian Nerds Unite, Darren Wilhite of the Will Height and Wall Show for all your help in making the intro. Of course, remember to email us, podcast@neverlandpodcast.com. Find us on Twitter, NeverlandPcast, although I don't do a lot on Twitter. We have 2 Facebook pages. One, of course, just a fan page, and, of course, a group. I love sharing some fun things when I find out that something new is happening. You can leave us a voicemail, 816-226-6492. And remember, please, we do appreciate everyone who donates on Patreon. We have links right there on the website, neverlandpodcast.com. Otherwise, patreon.com/neverlandpodcast. And as we like to remind you at the end of every episode, get lost in an adventure. See you next time.